Stay with me. Brothers, what we do in life.
To the affidavit that the FBI unsealed this week for justifying its raid on the Fulton County election warehouse where the 2020 ballots were seized. It had a very important word in it, substantiated, that the FBI had substantiated that certain legally required procedures in Fulton County weren't followed and that some really sloppy things happened. Fulton County admitted to the FBI they double counted ballots. Fulton County admitted they lost some ballots. Fulton County admitted that they didn't follow with some of the state laws, and as a result, there are federal laws that can punish people who don't follow the state laws for administration of elections. It's not the equivalent of having a fake voter or having an illegal vote in an election, but having deterrence so that people follow the way we're supposed to count votes. How important is that to you? A little bit to the affidavit that the FBI.
How is it going out there, my fellow world patriots? It is indeed Monday, March 9th, 2026, and we bring to you today, we're getting very close there, guys, Mac and Lisa, we're getting close to episode 200, by my estimation. We're probably over that by now, but we'll call it as we numbered it. And 199 we bring to you guys today, and of course we have Miss Lisa from across the pond there, and another gentleman named Mac who's sharing the east coast of the United States with myself here. But ladies first, Miss Lisa, how's the week going? How's the performances going? And we're gonna get into that if you haven't seen that one. There was actually some words used by Trump, but we'll let that lie for a minute. But how you doing, Lisa?
Doing very well. Just watching what's going on, and very interested in what people are saying and also what they're not saying. So hopefully we'll get into a bit of that a little bit later. But good evening, everybody, or good night for me.
Good morning, good evening, or good night. Yeah, whatever the case may be. Mr. Max, sir, how's it going with you, my man? What's up with you? Everything good?
Hey, going well. Thanks for having us as usual. Thanks to everybody that tunes in, and thanks to the mods. Looking forward to the show. Lots to cover. This is very interesting with Fulton County, considering they already went to Maricopa. And we had mentioned Runbeck, who had been printing the ballots. President Trump's pointed out how mail-in ballots have been a huge fraud contention in our federal elections. So I find this very interesting.
Me too. Yeah, it's getting.
Because it could also go to other ways. It doesn't have to be just Runbeck, but Runbeck being out of Arizona, their foreign ties and everything, and it's going to get interesting. We'll see what they take.
Very, very interesting. Let me see what the hell's going on here, because apparently my second monitor doesn't want to let me.
Oh, I don't want to brag.
Uh-oh.
But, you know, they've said this about a lot of things. No other president could do some of this shit I'm doing. No other president. The things I'm doing, nobody else was going to do it. They say it all the time. Sir, could you do this? You're the only one can do it. No, I don't want to brag. But, you know, they've said this about a lot of things. No other president could do some of this shit I'm doing.
All right, a simple Control-Alt-Delete to the task manager saves the day, and he broke the big reveal, Mac. You know, it's going to be funny and show, you know, whatever, the thing that you dropped here. But did he actually say that in that thing, or is this one an ad-lib one? Because I didn't hear it in the other one we were going to prep, but it's getting interesting.
This sounds like something he actually did say.
There's been many you know, memes and stuff over this stuff. You know, like I do this. You know, basically put a rapper's voice over him. Like, this is what I do. I take this stuff and, you know, whatever. But clearly, you know, to Lisa's point too. Before the show, we were talking just a little bit, and you know, again, Lisa, what is smoke? What is mirrors? What is real? What is not? Because we can't really tell you 100% really what's going on in any different country right now, but what's being reported, right?
Yeah, aside from other things, what I see is Israel is getting absolutely pummeled. Yes. So,
really?
Israel itself, absolutely. Desalination plants, radar systems, the Iran missiles are going straight past their Golden Dome, military bases, when they try to, what do they call it, exfiltrate one of their men from like Lebanon, and they were fought back. Yes, they had to go back to Israel. There's a lot of things going on, and what I see is that Israel is really taking the hits. And the fact that they targeted a desalination plant, I don't know if you know, but I think Israel get 80% of their water from the desalination plants. I don't think they've got loads of them. They're outside of town, and Iran have been targeting those. And they're pretty easy to destable because they work at high pressure. So any amount of impact, and literally they stop working, and that's 80% of Israel's water. They're not talking about it.
I haven't found anything that says that they hit their desalination facilities.
Oh, I
It's been a little
can
bit.
show you, and I can show you the video and footage of the radar place. One, with the smoke coming out of it, and then two, actual close-up footage, and you can see everything is bent out of shape. Like, without a doubt, it's been hit. And all I'm saying is, like, this is like the fog of war. A lot of things are being covered up. If you start with, I could go on forever, but there's certain things that are being said. And if you just really look and just dig a little bit deeper, you can see that they're just not true. They're not true. But but all I'm saying is this is normal with war. People should expect that there will be propaganda from both sides. That's because you're fighting it's part of the, I don't know, it's just part of the strategy. I just see this every time there's a war. There's certain things that have happened, and you don't want to really admit to it, or you want to, the market's tanking, and you want to prop up the market and stuff like that. But there's things being said where within a day or so it's being walked back. But when it's being said, it's like absolute. But anyway, if you want me to go on about it, if you want me to go into detail, I can. But I'm just letting you know out there. It's like be wary of like the propaganda, because there's a lot of it. There's a hell of a lot of it, and also there's some false flags as well, where I've seen footage with, I don't know whether it was Bahrain or something like that. Anyway, a target got hit, and then when you pan and see, when the camera pans to see the smoke and the trajectory of the missile, it's like it came from over there. It didn't come from up high. It kind of came like almost parallel to the ground. Yes, which means it had to be close. So it didn't come from where they said it came from. A couple of Mossad agents have been arrested as well, in one of the Gulf states on suspicion of planting bombs.
Really?
But yeah, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot more that I could say, but I kind of don't want to put a downer on things. No.
It's fine. We want to get information out, but also, like you said, there's a lot of reporting on, people hitting certain areas, right? And we learned pretty early on in Ukraine, like, wow, they wouldn't have a problem like blowing up one of their own schools and then saying, oh, look, see what Russia did or whatever. So you're going to have that in everywhere. And then also another thing I would say too is a lot of people were saying, gee, we got a lot of footage out of this war compared to some of the other wars pretty quickly as well. And then you listen to President Trump and his posture. He doesn't seem like somebody who's like overly concerned. And talking to one of these media guys, he's just like, yeah, what do you think? And actually, I don't want to quote that right now. I'll get into that later. But Mac, any comments you want to make? Because I know you dropped this one as well, which I was actually going to cover also. But this is just another example of that.
Just following a war and people pointing fingers. It was an Iranian missile that hit the school. So I've looked into the desalination, and they have the trajectory and everything of what it looked like. So, and Trump's commented from what he's seen, it looks Iranian. I've seen a couple different breakdowns. One is the actual shape of the missile isn't the Tomahawk shape. So
yeah, they've zoomed it in. And they've looked at the stuff and said like the warhead or whatever being halfway down versus, and they actually have, I can actually show you guys pictures of some of this stuff too as well. Lisa, you gonna mention
but interestingly enough, it's like when it was first mentioned and the question was asked, who bombed the school? Yes, and the school was bombed on the first day that that Khomeini was killed. It was at a similar time when Khomeini was killed. Hegseth first came out and said they don't know, they're looking into it. That was the first time he mentioned it and was asked about it. The second time, another time he came out and he said, well, it may be us. Yes. And then after that, it's been complete 180 degrees to say that it's the Iranians and that they bombed their own school.
Yeah, it was an Arab missile, and they have the video and the pictures of it all coming down, and the breakdown of actually what the missile looked like. So, that's the best evidence we have, other than what was said before. Pete Hegseth said he didn't know, and so this is how it unfolds.
At first, but I'm watching everything. I've been listening to every single speech that he's given, and I've listened to the change in what is being said about the same topic. I do that kind of thing. It just registers in my brain. And today, President Trump has said, "Oh, it was a Tomahawk, and it's the Iranians." But he definitely said that it's a Tomahawk. We can listen to the video if you want.
Interesting.
But he also said that other people buy our Tomahawks. So I don't know what's going on.
Never know. I got a fun one too, and this is just a little trip down memory lane. I don't know if this was just a year ago or if somebody just posted this a year ago, but just interesting footnotes into the history of stuff that we were doing with Iran. So remember this, guys. And this always kind of rubbed me so weird. Here we go. President Trump.
You saw that where 14 missiles were shot at us the other day. And they were very nice. They gave us warning. They said, we're going to shoot them. It's 1 o'clock, okay. I said, it's fine. And everybody was emptied off the base. So they couldn't get hurt except for the gunners. They call them the gunners. And out of 14 high-end missiles that were shot at the base in Qatar, all 14, as you know, were shot down by our equipment. Amazing stuff. Amazing. They can do it's like shooting a bullet with a bullet.
I'm a little confused. Is this the same one in which they said, "Hey, we have to respond by hitting you back," and then we hit them out of the sky? But I thought there was some that landed, but they were all short of the base. But I just bring it up to say, like, what the hell's really going on?
Well, that was back when America kind of targeted their nuclear facilities. That was when that came out. Yes, it was it was before then, I think, because that was one of the reasons. Like it was like, right, this is serious now. They targeted Qatar in retaliation, but also Qatar weren't they the ones that hosted the Hamas leaders?
Something like that. But it was our base
Regarding
in Qatar.
Around October the 7th, when that October the 7th started, that kind of friction, and the Hamas leaders went over to, I think it was Qatar, and no, it wasn't Hamas. Sorry, why did they? Oh, I think it was because they were working with the with you, the Americans, something like that.
With you. Not me personally, not us personally, but no. But I mean, I just find it so interesting, right? Like in the grand scheme of things, all right, we can even take the reasons out of the picture. So like Mac, we hit Iran with something, and they were like, shit, well, we can't let this lie. We need to attack you back. And then they call him to tell him like, hey, we're gonna hit you, but we're really not gonna hit you. So again, like, what are we watching here?
He's trying to conserve the innocent lives. I mean, he's given them all the options that they can. They literally don't want to kill the people per se. They want to get rid of the facilities that are making these possible nuclear weapons. They keep bringing up the nuclear weapons. I think there's much more to that story than just it being labeled as nuclear weapons. But literally today, Trump explained that they were given nuclear power for free, an offer, and they refused, and they still wanted to build nuclear. So I think it's diplomatic. It's trying to be as peaceful as possible, and that's the way it's going to happen. I mean, it was it the soldier? I've got to find this, but there was a soldier that called his father and told his father that Trump gave them like a couple attempts to leave, and on the third, by the third time, it was they struck the location. I'll find it real quick.
Like
it's very interesting.
An Iranian soldier?
Yeah, an Iranian soldier. I'll find it in 1 second.
Very interesting. Yeah, and well, as Mac's bringing that one up, I found an interesting one today too, and I'm like, remember we heard the response of Vladimir Putin essentially was, well, we got 2 million, we got 2 million Russians in Israel, so essentially, we ain't gonna be attacking Israel essentially. But today, I think it was today. Yeah, today. Yep. Trump floats ending war in Iran after a mysterious call with Putin. Suggested a war with Iran could soon come to an end just hours after completing a mysterious, not just a phone call, guys. Remember, it's a mysterious phone call. Like they had smoke and mirrors and there was like witches and stuff. Trump told reporters U.S. forces are very far ahead of schedule, claiming Iran's military has effectively been destroyed. I think war is very complete, pretty much, Trump told CBS News. They have no Navy, no communications, no Air Force. Wrapping up is all in my mind. And then Trump's remark came after Putin shared Any comments on that, Lisa? And I'll check for that link in a minute.
Yeah. Russia put out that President Trump called Putin. So Trump initiated the call. The oil prices are going through the roof. The tankers are not getting through the Strait of Hormuz, even though we were told that it's all under control. It's not under control. Obviously not. Yes? Obviously not. And no ships are being
They actually
escorted.
are. I have video of it. They just shut off their transponders as they go through the Strait of Hormuz as a precautionary reason, and dozens of ships have gone through the Strait of Hormuz today.
Well, there's a reason why, like say, Europe is being starved, or they're having to use. Like I hear what you're saying, mate, but I'm also just trying to give like the other side of it. Like you somehow got to fight your way through this information because the oil price is going up because the stores are filling up because they can't.
Just went down today. It took a 30%
but it went
crash.
All right, but it went down today because of Trump's announcement, and I'm just trying to say, like if you kind of just take a step back a bit, you see what the strategy is. You know, the oil price was going through the roof, and they were going, "Oh, it's going to be like over $100 a barrel or whatever," and now it's going to go up to 130. Europe is panicking because they can't get their oil, like they literally can't get their oil, so that's going to push inflation up. And at the same time, it's like Trump floated that they were going to lift the sanctions on Russia so that they can calm the market. Yes, that was said the other day. And also today again, he didn't actually mention Russia's name, but we know that he had the telephone call with Russia. Yes.
Now,
and
I've got something very interesting about this is like that Trump is opening up the global trade routes he's changed them because of, we know about Lloyd's of London and the insurance and how the Strait of Hormuz, but I looked into this to the Baltimore Bridge, Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse, the Suez Canal, and the Panama Canal. And they're all regulated. 90% of the shipping lanes are regulated by the IAS. Now I got to find that out. But the IAS, London, Lloyd's of London falls under the IAS. So Trump, through all this, has been hurting Lloyd's of London. Lloyd's of London has to pay out the Francis Scott Key Bridge payment, the largest insurance payment ever. So they're hitting these middlemen who've been controlling the ports and straits and canals and bridges, for a couple hundred years at least. And to me, it looks like that Trump has now reworking those trade routes, and Europe is definitely getting pushed out a little bit. And that's because Zelensky has just threatened to cut off, we talked about, Hungary's pipeline. So if Trump is now counteracting that, so that squeezes Europe. So Europe will then have to hopefully conform to this new system that Trump is organizing, in my opinion, and get away from the old system that's been in play that's basically allowed all for this trafficking, this corruption, and everything. Because it is not an honest system, and it's I looked into it a lot today. It's the IMO, connects to the United Nations. And the United Nations work hand in hand with them, and it's a very, very interesting dig to go into. And I don't want to spend too much time, but it goes deep.
Well, if you think about it, like we know that shipping, what's connected with shipping? Trafficking. Yes, oh, yeah. Trafficking, in big style, probably the most. We know that like Epstein was trafficking the girls from Eastern Europe through to like Lebanon, from Lebanon onwards. Yes, we know that because we found out that some time ago when that port was bombed. So there was information there. But shipping is huge as far as trafficking is concerned. I think, there's a few people been talking about how, by taking over the insurance of Lloyd's, what do? They insure high risk things, and they're probably one of the biggest in the world. But they are big on shipping because they've been controlling the shipping for like hundreds of years. If you can't get it insured, then you're just not going to be on the water, because you've got high risk, let's say, cargo, and they've now lost this business that they have been controlling, because if you control the money, then you control the business. So they control the shipping, and that isn't happening anymore. America took back control of the Panama Canal. When was that? Was that as soon as Trump got in again? Somewhere like November, December 2025, or it might have been before then anyway. But I know that, like, say, they put in a new admiral, and basically they kicked the Chinese into touch, because the Panama Canal had done some deals with the Chinese where it meant that the Chinese were running both entrances to the Panama Canal. So America are now running that. For me, it's like he's controlling like the oil distribution. You know, what a war's started over oil, and if you can control that, the energy, then you're looking good. I think it's to do with oil as well, because you've got your Venezuela, and he's got access to the crude oil there. When he met with India, one of the things that he asked India is that they wouldn't buy oil from Russia. They're a pretty big customer of Russia. The whole of Europe is now thinking, well, where can we get our oil from after we've raided our own stores of oil? And then you're right, mate. There's a big panic on. There's a big panic on because Europe is absolutely in trouble. But at the same time, it's likely, well, he said that he might lift the sanctions on Russia, not once, twice at least, because Russia have enough to be able to service Europe, and Russia were just going to cut Europe off completely and sell to their other customers like Indonesia, India. I think it's hilarious, actually, but it is going to have a massive, massive effect, because oil is going to, when the price of oil goes up, the cost of living goes up, and everything goes up. Everything,
Very cyclical.
So it's it'll affect the whole wide world, and I'm doubting very much whether President Trump really wants that to happen to a certain degree. Yes, because it'll be hitting your homeland, if you don't get it under control. I could be wrong.
So another thing
you can only go so far.
So another thing Trump is kind of in control of now is the petrodollar, the petro market. So people are currently saying that it's going to be a long war. The mainstream media and stuff. I just don't believe it. I think that President Trump's going to be able to get this under control fairly quickly. This is a different leadership than has ever been done before. Someone that actually does it right, doesn't mess up, doesn't lie to you, doesn't try to blow smoke. If it doesn't happen right now, it may happen a little later, and then he'll walk it back and tell you the honest truth. I just find it's brilliant what he's doing. If we're so associated with the petrodollar, and we got away from the Bretton Woods system, that I feel like it's taking OPEC's control and it's now divvying it up so that they don't have to worry so much about Iran's threat, and they can now do business with more clarity. So I'm interested to see how this goes. The IACS that I was talking about was the International Association of Classification Societies. So that is the permanent secretariat is in London since 1992. There's 12 member societies, and they cover more than 90% of the world's cargo carrying ship tonnage. So you have to get a classification, and then once you get a classification, you want to get your ship insured. And so Lloyd's is one of the avenues, and they fall under the IACS, which then I think it's falls under basically United Nations. There's more steps. There's like one other step to this, but there it is, relationship with the IMO. So the International Maritime Organization. And so this is all he's muddying the water. He's, I guess, reorganizing things. It's very interesting. And so that there has to be, like Lisa was saying, kind of alluding to, it's got to be some chaos going on, because these were all trusted avenues for so long, and now times are changing very rapidly.
Well, Lloyd's of London, just very quickly, Lloyd's of London are worth, I think it might be 40 billion to the UK per year. Yeah, remember that they're based in London, 40 billion to the economy. So that's what they're also going to lose out. Yes?
That is a lot, huh?
It is to lose per year. Yes.
Oh,
So we're now being told that the cost of living is going to go up and inflation is going to go up and to expect it and all of that kind of thing. And it is actually happening now. It is happening now. Yes.
One other thing, and I'd love to hear if Lisa or Space Shot even, but maritime law, international maritime, is based off of English law. So it's almost like Trump is fighting them at their own game, and he's able to manipulate it to however he wants. So it's pretty wild.
And what this Russian guy here is saying, Kirill Dmitriev, remember he's the envoy for Putin. And this was February 28th. He said $100 per oil barrel soon, oil per barrel soon, right? And then, 23 hours ago, 150 is the new oil target, even with 200 plus a possibility in a prolonged conflict. And of course, we don't want to do a prolonged conflict, right? But I do think behind the scenes, I really do believe that these Russians are working with President Trump. And I do believe this is a fog of war scenario, but who knows? I'm not an economist.
Did you see Kirill's post the other day with the black swan, and then today he quote posted it with a black wave, essentially? If you check his profile, it'll
black wave of oil.
Well, it's water, but right there. Go ahead, Lisa.
If you think about it, Russia is probably one of the few countries that could handle mediation between America and Iran. If anybody could bring the two to the table, it would be Russia. Russia has also actually pledged their full support for the new leadership in Iran. Because remember, Russia work with Iran, and Russia are well aware of the issues that are being caused because of the fighting that's going on, well aware. And in fact, they've just said that, if Europe needs oil, then we can supply it. But of course, Europe have put all these sanctions on Russia. That's why Trump's saying, maybe we'll lift the sanctions. And also, we're probably going to lift his second statement was, we're probably going to lift the sanctions, but he didn't actually mention Russia, but I'm pretty sure that he means Russia, because Russia is important right now, to stop the economies from completely crashing.
Go back to that post and go to the what it was attached to, because there's additional comms in my opinion.
I'm actually trying to click on it. So I think if it's a reply, then it should be.
It's not a reply. Short. It's a quote post.
Does that come up as a reply, or does that come up as a post? I don't.
A post. It'll be a post.
All right, let's see here.
Now, if you look at the swan, it's black.
There we
Black
go.
Swan event. There you go at the bottom.
Yes.
It has a crown on it.
Oh yeah.
And there's obviously a reflection. So mirror, think mirror. What they've always done to us, we're about to do to them. And crown. There aren't too many famous crowns out there. And what happens when you soak a white swan? It turns black, like oil. So an oil-soaked swan. That's what I gathered from it. What do you think, Lisa?
Absolutely. That's what I'm trying to say. Europe is in trouble, including the UK. Because we are dependent. Go on. Yes.
Yeah. So I said this several months ago, that I think behind the scenes, yes, Trump's been working with Putin, that they will open up the Arctic for trade routes, and oil will be a part of that. And that's why Trump's ordered all those icebreakers and stuff. And Greenland is a key component of that trade route. So they're getting these components all in place, and it's happening right before our eyes, and Europe is freaking out. So they're leaning on Zelensky to, stop pipelines in Hungary, put the pressure and blackmail Hungary into capitulating a war under Russia. Because, I think France and England have already said that they want to go to war with Russia. So there's more money in the war machine that they're going to try to create. And I think they're going to fall on their face, unfortunately. For everybody.
The thing is, they're already on their face, because Zelensky with his, usually he does his world tour with his begging bowl, and he's a really good salesman, as Trump says, and he's always getting money and he's always getting what he wants: more arms, more this, more that, more missiles. Right now, America needs its missiles. So they are not being sold to the Ukraine. Yes. So even though there's a deal where they sell the missiles to NATO, and then NATO give them to the Ukraine, that ain't happening right now. Let me tell you. And Zelensky is panicking because he's no longer the center of attention, and he can't get attention. So he's like the kid saying, "Hello, like Father Christmas, I'm here," and he's doing everything that he can. He even offered to provide drone experts to the Gulf. And it's like, whilst Russia is taking over your front garden, so Russia have made some massive strides with the Ukraine more recently. I'm not joking, like really. And they're cutting off soldiers and not allowing like the Ukraine to do a changeover of soldiers so that they can get a rest and all kinds of things. But right now, it's as if Zelensky is being ignored because he's probably not as important as what is going on right now for America. And he's one of the reasons that he's I think we talked about him actually physically threatening Orban, the Hungary president. He physically threatened him to say that his soldiers will go around to Orban's house. And Europe had to rebuke him for that, because that is one step too far. And that's because Orban, and there's another country, part of the European Union, there's at least two countries that are one, they're opposing that he joins the EU because they want to fast track it. And they want to fast track it without him going through the normal procedures, which is you sort out corruption, you sort out this, and there's reform that goes on. And then also, they want to give him, is it 90 billion or something, and 90 billion in cash. And these two countries, including Hungary, are opposing that. And with Europe, if one country opposes it, then they don't do it. So there's interesting things going on there, and he's trying to get attention,
They're begging us for help, Lisa.
The Americans, we asked them for help. Now they ask us for drone help. I just want cocaine. Cocaine.
But funny, something else he did over in Ukraine that, to me, didn't get much fanfare or notification. You guys know he just signed a law like 6 or 8 days ago. Was it 6 or 8? Whatever. Zelensky signs law on forced evacuation of children when parents can be deprived of their rights. Child can be evacuated both with and without parents if they refuse to leave despite the danger. So they're basically saying, on one part, you're like, well, yeah, you should have kids out of the war zones and any of these hostility areas. And then, of course, what we've all been investigating and looking into the last many years, it also brings up some red flags too. It's like, all right, well, where are these kids going to be going? Are they going to be accounted for? Are they going to lose these kids? Because historically, it's not going well. We see, I'll bring you guys' attention to Haiti and that war, that earthquake that amazingly Red Cross seemed to be staged and set up and ready to go like as it happened. So that was interesting as well. But hey, we're taking all the kids out of war zones. So I just thought that was interesting. Any comments on that one? Jeez.
That's like holding their own citizens hostage in time of war. I mean, that's crazy. So the government comes over and says, hey, you guys got to move. And the parents are like, no. And they're like, we're going to take your child. And the parents, I guess, are like, I guess we got to move then. Or you're going to take our child. And then, yeah, that's going to just, it's going to be undocumented children again. And we all knows what happens with undocumented children.
We sure do. Let me see. So I'm going to kind of stick with a little bit more, a couple things. I don't know if I need to hit this. Let's see if we hit this bad boy or not. Yeah, this is 55 seconds. President Trump. Maybe you guys want to check a timestamp on this one, but 6:23 from today. So you would look up post 1823 or 623. But let's take a listen. Hopefully it's loud enough, unlike that other
On the
one.
very first day I came down the escalator in 2015, I said, quote, I will stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons. And all I'm doing is keeping my promise. Think of that. That was in 2015. I said it. It was a threat then and much bigger threat now, but no longer a threat, not for a long time anyway. We want to keep it that way. As we continue Operation Epic Fury, we're also focused on keeping energy and oil flowing to the world. And I will not allow a terrorist regime to hold the world hostage and attempt to stop the globe's oil supply. And if Iran does anything to do that, they'll get hit at a much, much harder level. I will take out those targets that were easy, that I mentioned just before. We'll take them out so quickly, they'll never be able to recover, ever. If they want to play that game, they better not play that game.
So, this is the folks that say, oh, he's only doing what, that country wants to do. He's being pushed. But I think in the greater scheme of things that both Lisa and Mac have touched on, it might be more about kind of reorganizing our who our true allies versus who our true enemies are. And we've touched on this over the, the past couple of months, many months, of course, but are you guys our enemies, Lisa? Are you guys like
Well,
are you the baddies?
I've been saying, I've been, yeah, actually, and no, we're not. Like the current government is not your friend, and the British Empire,
nope,
was your master. Do you really think that they want to stand down? No matter what you've been told about winning the Civil War and all of that kind of thing. So instead of kind of controlling America overtly, then, but what Mike said about Lloyd's, yes? We still control things. I'm not saying we control everything, but we still try and control covertly, yes? Even though we talk about this special relationship. So what did Keir Starmer do? So as soon as the US and Israel attacked Iran, he ran to the mosque and said and started like I don't know what he was doing. He did a tour around the mosque saying that he's not going to help. He's not going to help you, and that you're not using the bases as well. Remember that? So America have had air bases here, Lakenheath, Milden Hall. You've got a lot of them. You've even got those B-52s or B-2 bombers over here, yes, in the UK. And he was saying that you couldn't use them and wouldn't sanction actually America using those bases. And I think Trump's reaction was when eventually he did say, "Oh, we'll help on a defensive level." Trump said, "You only want to get involved when we've won the war. We don't need you." And he literally but put that out on a Truth Social post. We don't need you.
I found it very telling that British didn't come, England didn't come with their carrier, to help out. Given the scenario of terrorism and stuff, so I felt that was very telling on what's going on in the whole grand scheme of things. Like you're like, okay, so who's all in on this exactly? You know what I mean? So and Trump in that post is very spot on. If he's very cryptic, but he's very spot on.
Yeah, to Lisa, to your point here, just really quick, it says the UK are once great ally, maybe the greatest of them all, is finally giving serious thoughts to sending 2 aircraft carriers to the Middle East. Now, this is 2 days ago again, but that's okay, Prime Minister Starmer. We don't need them any longer, but we will remember we don't need people that join wars after we've already won. President Donald J. Trump. So, Lisa, he's mentioned that, and he's also mentioned the fact that I know it was UK for sure, you guys for sure, but maybe another country or two out there that was like, we don't want to do these, war. We basically just want to make the place into glass, right? Like we don't go in to do wars. We would just want to bomb you from. So basically, we want you guys to go and complete the job, like essentially wipe these people out. And I don't think he wants to do exactly what they're what they're saying. Essentially, what was the quote? We don't go into, or we don't parachute in, or something like that. Something along those lines. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's just to me, it's just typical of the government right now. Like really, and if you've been listening to the show, you've heard me kind of knocking the government and saying, don't think that. I think I said it around the time of the BBC debacle, and it's like, no, the BBC is controlled by the government, and they like all of this woke and anti-Trump stuff, you know. And then Starmer wants to pretend that he's the only one he's got the best relationship with President Trump. And it's like, no, you haven't. And you don't even like him, because President Trump stands for everything that Keir Starmer is against. Everything. He wants the men in women's bathrooms. Everything that's opposite to the current kind of policies. That is what Keir Starmer, and he's trampling on free speech. Remember that, and he's doing that because, and it's anyway. So it's much deeper than what you think. He's been working with the Democrats, and the British government have been working with the Democrats in order to instill or install the same kind of policies in the UK, but they've been going overboard. And it's a whole strategy behind the scenes with them working with the shadow government.
This is crazy, Matt. I just pulled up
Did Starmer have a relationship with Jimmy Savile?
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
Was he groomed by him, or like that crowd, so to speak?
Well,
like how they do that in the cabal.
Mm-hmm. Starmer was completely groomed for the job that he's doing right now. He was at about 5 or 6 years old. He was on Jim Will Fix It, which was a show by Jimmy Savile where he, fixed it for children to do certain things. So he was on that. So he knew Jimmy Savile from when he was a little kid. Then also he was head of Crown prosecutions which is the equivalent of Pam Bondi's job. So they decide whether somebody gets prosecuted or not. And all of the time they refused to even look into prosecuting Jimmy Savile until he died. And then at the same time, it's like, the kind of rape gangs who've been raping young children, he's botched that purposely so that there is no inquiry into that. He was head of Crown prosecutions. They say yes or no whether somebody gets prosecuted. Mm. And then he was, friend Prince Charles, and then the next thing, he's the Prime Minister. Yes?
This real, Lisa? Do you know?
What's that?
I
can't see any pictures. I can't see any pictures, by the way.
Did the share not come up? I can reshare for you.
I can see it.
Oh, you can see it. All right, I'll reshare, so maybe it didn't come through. But there's a picture of Jimmy Savile with Tony Blair in like a blue sweater, and Jimmy Savile's holding like an air horn in his hand. Let me just reshare just to make sure we got it through. But I didn't, I covered it the other day, and I was like, well, I don't know for sure if it's legit, because sometimes you have you don't know nowadays,
You've got to realize that Jimmy Savile was huge. Yeah. He was a huge celebrity, huge persona, supposedly a huge philanthropist, raising money for different hospitals and all of that. Meanwhile, he was the night porter, and they gave him the keys to the hospital and the morgue and put him on the board of the hospital.
Who did he pass the baton to? He's no longer with us.
Maybe one of these guys. Maybe him.
Well,
or
I can't
Lisa,
see the picture.
Oh,
I can't see the picture.
I'm sharing, so I don't know.
Yeah, I can see
You
it.
can
I
see
don't know
it
what's
too?
wrong with your.
So
Yeah.
Lisa, this part of it's new because I was just looking to show everybody and click on and say, hey, here's Keir Starmer with Jimmy Savile, but this also got pulled up and it looks like it's part of a bigger Daily Mail article, and it says June 14th of 24, updated by Tom Kelly, investigations editor. Keir Starmer appears in communist spy files after joining a Czechoslovakian work camp at the height of the Cold War. The Mail can reveal. That's news to me. I've not seen that, so I'm sure I could find that article in short order. But have you ever heard about that? That's news to me.
I wouldn't doubt it, because even the previous Labour leader, they'll tell you about how they support communism, or like say, when they were younger, they were part of the Communist Party or whatever. That's their beliefs, just like the extreme left. That's what they are. They're extremely left and extremely woke, and they're just ridiculous. I can't tell you. And they brought in this assault on free speech so that they couldn't be criticised. And it's like, this is England, mate. What is going on? But they didn't just do it on their own. They worked with the Biden administration. Do you understand?
Wow.
To bring this in, and then Keir Starmer and his chief of staff, they went over to help Biden and Kamala Harris against Trump. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, really? They sent over 100 people, paid for over 100 people to go and help with the campaigning.
That's
EO
in America.
EO 13848.
Yeah.
That's bananas.
And they knew about Peter Mandelson and Epstein and the relationship, and they're just lying about it, and they still haven't put out all of the documents regarding how Peter Mandelson was actually installed in that position as some kind of special envoy to Washington,
Interesting. Pretty crazy. It is number one UK trader, Danny Snow, put in the chat. And you might have to find a line for that one because there might be a bunch of those, unfortunately. But MaQaveli, before we move on, just really quick, I want to thank Red Pill earlier. He had raided the stream earlier, and then Beer Raider, not EER like the drink, more like a bear, like growl. Bear Raider dropped a $10 Rumble rant, says, keep on rocking in the free world while it's free, right? And I think inevitably we'll get to that point going forward. We'll see. So maybe we'll do some polls later on the aesthetics of the stream. But let me see here. I know this has been a very interesting one. So we'll kind of shift gears a little bit here. And this one's I've been questioning this one. We'll just leave it at that one, right? Like, not the question of like whatever, but let's just take a listen to this dude.
Man, does the truth always come out later on down the road. A lot of people know Marjorie Taylor Greene as this loudmouth individual that was outspoken for the American people, and then all of a sudden she does this switch up in the last couple months and then abruptly just resigns. Makes you wonder why, right? Now it's being reported and found, and I confirmed myself on the FEC website that Marjorie Taylor Greene was receiving funds from the Marouk family. And if you're not familiar with the Marouk family, more specifically Sam Marouk, it's an individual here in the state of Texas who is a huge funder of the left. For example, this is part of his family, Hassan. Others in the Marouk family, showing Act Blue, Ilhan Omar, and then Sam himself. And I ran it through a couple AIs just to verify, make sure, maybe I read something wrong. But then people are like, oh, it's only $7,000. Yeah, but it's $7,000 from an extremely blue individual. That in itself is a red flag, pun intended. Because not only would it explain her 180 there at the end, it would also explain her abrupt resignation out of nowhere. Oh, but her family was being threatened. Yeah, she's a congressional member. That happens to them literally every day. It's nothing new. But I knew there was something off about her, and this kind of points to the right direction for me. Does it explain the whole story? No, but it's starting to come into focus a little bit more.
Oh, I hate that little at the end and the TikTok thing. But so my question became, about her was, is she playing this stuff, to get more eyes on the things, for Trump? Because how do you go from so rah, rah, rah? But as we do find out, people do switch their lanes. So I reserve the right to change my opinion later. But what has she been saying late? This is what I don't understand. Like, what has she been saying now that they started releasing all the Epstein files? Has she just kind of quieted down? And the last thing I will mention about this, and send it to you, Matt, because I think you dropped it, was if she comes out later with, oh, it was only $7,000. If you're getting so many donations that only $7,000 is like meh to you, then you're doing stuff for the wrong reason, right? Like, I get so many donations, I couldn't even figure. Oh, that was $7,000. If I had $7,000 donation, I would be like, holy ish, right? Like, so the money that these people make, and that's a very interesting number, that 7,000 as well, Mac.
Yeah, I haven't liked her for a long, long time.
I know you and Lisa have had some disdain for a while.
I think that she's probably going to run for VP or Republican or president of like the Democratic Party. 'Cause, she's gonna try to like bring people over. I just see some evil plays here. I've followed her. I don't like the PPP loans, but I'm going to take a PPP loan, and then I don't have to pay it back. She was against the Second Amendment. She got into a little scuffle with some people. Yeah, there's a video we played on the show a long, long time ago.
Jeez.
And she's taking money from different people that I still have some question marks on, and just the way she acts, it's kind of. I'm over the act of me. I'm going to deliver the most important stuff. And I've just followed the trail for so long that I know who she's associated with, and we're just going to have to see what happens.
Awesome. And now, go ahead, finish.
She's just exposing herself more and more every day. So a lot of times it just takes some time. We're seeing that play out.
Gotcha. Now, before I get Lisa's comment, I just wanted to ask the folks in the chat too. Give me your breakdown on her. Please just make it nice and simple so I can just kind of scroll through them. So, good, bad, actor, good, bad, acting or actor, good, bad, or actor. Miss Lisa. I think I know where this is going, but go ahead.
Oh no, I think Max said it well. But what comes to mind is something that we used to experience. I'm not sure if it's still going on, but on the voice chats on Telegram a few years ago, you used to get people who would be 95% on point, and then all of a sudden there would be that 5% curveball, which would be like 180 degrees. So it was almost like 95% of what they say was said to kind of hook you in, and then all of a sudden they throw a curveball, and see if they can take you with them.
Well said.
I don't know. Do you remember that, Mike?
Oh yeah, well said. I mean, we see it so many times with a lot of these influencers and politicians. It's the same playbook, and I'm just tired of it. It's like, just be real, stop lying so much. And the only person that seems to be telling the truth is President Trump during all this. And now he's got some people behind him, Marco Rubio and JD Vance, that seem to be on that same path. And everybody that's under him in the Trump administration seems to be behind that. So we all know that there's some infiltrators here and there, but overall, I think they're doing a great job. But we've got some final honesty.
Who, this guy? Who, this Bill Hicks guy? Actually, this is a video I've never seen. I'm not going to play it, but this is Alex Jones in 1996, apparently. And I'll just give for the caveat, because I always look over here and I'll see like 100,000 people watching Alex Jones, and the next one's like 30,000 people watching Alex Jones. Who do we have a lot of respect for, or historically? Oh God, why am I going to do a buzz right now? But Bill, who wrote the very well received diatribe, who called this guy basically a shit stirrer, right? Y2K, everybody was going to blow up and this, that, and the other. But guess what, guys? Not only, during random things that have been happening over the last many years. You guys remember when they had the gassing in Syria, and then he decided he was going to go in at like 2 a.m. I can't stand Trump. You ever call me again, I'll tell you I can't. Wish I never met him. But people still cling on to this. I don't know. I just don't get it. People have very short memories, apparently. And I guess that's how the other side gains their ground. We've covered this, so I'm not going to really play the whole thing. I'm just going to kind of bring it again to your attention because this has been covered pretty much ad nauseum. It's a 4-minute video. And like I said, the person here we're dealing with is this guy who is living over in Singapore, Roy Neville Singham, right? So you have these people that are, made their money here in the United States and then move over there to, Singapore, communist China, it says, and they have direct links to the Iranian regime and radical Islamists. Wake up, right? So these people are being funded with large donors, and this is nothing new. It's like the same playbook, though, but they play it on repeat. But I think the good guys learned this playbook a while ago. And remember, we were told years and years ago that they were mapping all that Antifa and all of the communications between them. But, and this is the sad thing too, guys. I've talked about this gentleman I used to work with ad nauseum, and unfortunately the last text I had to send him was, he says to me, imagine this, if Obama was doing this stuff, or Kamala or Biden. So he's talking about what Trump's doing right now. You'd be pointing out every single thing, but since it's your guy, it's all good. So I had to end him with, I said, your loyalty is actually to foreigners paying idiot Americans to fight back against anything pro-America. #facts. I said, at least now you can't say nobody ever told you. That I really thought there was some hope for you. And so I just don't see how some people, even being shown the proof in their face, are still so ignorant to the point. That brainwashing that these mainstream media people did was a hell of a good job, and it was persistent, right? So it's that old thing about the more you repeat something, the more people take it as true. They've been repeating, Donald Trump's this horrible individual for 8 going on 9, maybe 10 years by now. And so that 4 to 6%, guys, I think is more like 10 or 15. And some people, there's just no hope for whatsoever. Miss Lisa, you want to make any comments about that? Roy Neville Singham, people funding the anti-American whole diatribe deal?
Yeah, just what you said, really. Not much to say on it, because I think you said it all. That they're obviously funding a lot of these protests. Just look how they're so organized, as in they all have the same banners, the same placards, like somebody paid for them and manufactured them. It's not organic. You can see that, and the ICE protests and all of that. But they seem to continue, and maybe something should be done about that.
You would think, right? I mean, co-founder helped coordinate National Day of Action after killing a Soleimani, the National March on D.C., Free Palestine. And these, the people that keep taking the money, right, to just, whatever it might be, $100 a day, whatever, these people have, they have to be NPCs, right? They have to be the typical average person that's just like, okay, my alarm clock went off, go eat, take shower, get ready for work, go to work, come home, eat dinner, go to sleep. Oh, ball game. There's nothing else going on upstairs for some of these people. And unfortunately, I feel like there's a lot more of those people out there than we know about. Mac, I'm sorry, if you want to make any comment on that as well, goes for it.
I was just curious if the guy was on America's Most Wanted or anything. This seems to be pretty criminal behavior. Well, what's going on with that?
Right, you would think. I mean, geez. But Treasury might be all over this stuff. This is even President Trump. I think even since our show started, I think he's reposted, or shortly just before, but just a little bit more information on this one. Oh, Lisa, I think got kicked out. She's coming back in. Here we go.
Take a look here. Favorite photo ID to vote. 85% of white people favor it. 82% of Latino. 76% of Black Americans favor it. So the bottom line is this. Voter ID is not controversial in this country. A photo ID to vote is not controversial in this country. It is not controversial by party, and it is not controversial by race. The vast majority of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj that, in fact, you should have a photo ID to be able to vote.
So something.
Guys, make sure. Now we know it's worth it because Nicki Minaj said so.
Oh my. Anyway, this is shocking, and then because the politicians don't want to do anything about it, it's just like, come on, y'all, and it's Save America Act, and trying to say it's a Save Act, and Trump's been getting on their case about it and its truths, which are pretty funny, because that's classic them trying to deflect from the obvious, and what that act is actually doing is saving our country, because it's preserving our elections to be legit and not these fraudulent ones we've been having. So I think Lisa's back and she says she's good. All right, great.
And my bad, I'm a Momo sometimes, Lisa. He posted this 7 hours ago, but he reposted it, so he pinned it actually, the Save America Act. But any comments you want to make, Lisa, since you're back?
Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but didn't somebody suggest, rather than going through the filibuster and getting it all busted up, as in not passing, why don't they just add it to, is it the FISA that has to be renewed or something? Because maybe it's about national security as well, yes? You see what I mean? So add the Save America Act to, I think it's the FISA that they have to renew, to that bill.
Yeah, I think this is actually, I think somebody wrote an article here with this sentiment, it looks like. So let's take a look here. The SAFE Act is an imperfect vehicle for real 702 reform. And again, the idea that they spy on people, and they absolutely took super advantage of it, and they were doing it against President Trump and everybody in his administration, essentially. So the SAFE Act, introduced by Mike Lee and Dick Durbin, is the first of many likely proposals we'll see to reauthorize 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act of 2008. And while imperfect, it does propose a litany of real and much-needed reforms for Big Brother's favorite surveillance authority. The irresponsible 2024 reauthorization of the Secretive Mass Surveillance Authority Section 702 not only gave the government 2 more years of unconstitutional surveillance powers, it also made the policy much worse. But now people who value privacy and the rule of law get another bite at the apple. With expiration for Section 702 looming in April of 26, we are starting to see the emergence of proposals for how to reauthorize the surveillance authority, including calls from inside the White House for a clean reauthorization that would keep the policy unchanged. EFF always had a consistent policy. Section 702 should not be reauthorized absent major reforms that will keep this tactic of foreign surveillance from being used as a tool of mass domestic espionage. And essentially, you guys know all about the 702. Wow. Yeah, I mean,
see that? Oh my gosh, they're gonna try to pass something great, but yet they want to pass 702 as it is, which is what, the FISA, right?
Yeah, just as it is. They want to just push it right across.
And that's what got us into this mess to begin with the Russia hoax, the FISA warrant.
Exactly.
So I'm kind of curious, though, since this has been open the whole time. I know that it needs to be reformed, and it should be if Trump probably had a say in it. But Trump was probably using this as a weapon against the deep state as well, just like they used it against him. So as long as this is open, you got to think that there's still investigations or they're still monitoring people, which is very interesting if you think about it in that aspect.
Yeah, and what else were they trying to do? Make some sort of trade with Thune over, was it Cornyn or whatever? It's crazy. But I think really what it comes down to, Lisa, at the end of the day, they can put up any of these rules and regulations that they want to do, right? But if people break the regulations and then are found out to have broken such regulations, there's a penalty for such, right? But that's when it comes down to, like, you actually need to punish the people for doing things that they do that are illegal, right? Because nobody, as far as I see, got any sort of grief over all of the illegal spying over President Trump, right? And it was supposed to be for, foreign intelligence gathering, right? But we know that they changed it. They started, and then they can also do the 2-hop rule. So if I'm investigating Lisa and she's talking to Mac, well, guess what? I get to listen to Mac's conversations as well. So the whole thing needs to be fixed. Is that what it's
called, the 2-hop rule? I always call it the umbrella effect.
Yeah. I call it the 2-hop, whatever. The hopscotch.
Yeah, it makes it.
Or,
So
or
like
just
essentially
use
everyone gets monitored.
Yeah.
You know,
That's how.
yeah, or just using the foreign intelligence agencies to get around American law. That's really what they were doing.
True.
So that they could spy on everybody. So they got the foreign intelligence organizations like Five Eyes, 14 Eyes, whatever it is, to spy on Americans, and then they went and got the information, and that gets them around American law because it's not them. Yes. And then we had the other week where was it Cash Patel and Susie Wiles found out that they all their telephone calls were being bugged more recently, and they weren't even. I don't think they were part of the administration before they were even part of the administration. So, and who's in charge of the FISA court? John Roberts.
yeah.
And Boasberg too. I thought was part of that up there.
Yeah,
as
and
well.
I forgot Q posts are filled with FISA.
143 references. It says, and yeah, I mean, and to Lisa's
class
point,
1 through 99. Is that what's still going on?
I don't know. I don't. I have different thoughts about what that means. I thought it meant
we've talked about it, but
I think it
just
means
came to
senators. I think actually, pardon my friend. I think it means congressmen and women. I could be wrong. I don't. I'm just gonna go. I'll show you a couple of things that I've think or class. Maybe if I just do like this, class 1 dash. That maybe more will come up. Okay, 28. So when we see some of these things, right, and then we're talking about protect the truth regarding Biden and something or somebody, class 1-99 Ukraine collusion, right? Class 199 defense, class 1-99 intel. Because remember, you have certain classes inside the Congress and the Senate, right? And so certain classes will have to be renewed every, this year, and then certain ones won't have to be next year or the year after. I mean, I could be completely wrong. It could mean classified, classification for all I know. But I always thought it meant when it goes up to like 99, I thought it meant like the senators, like there's 100 of them. But again, I could be completely off base, and nobody knows. I don't think exactly what that is. D-class you add into there as well. But yeah, lots of FISA talk in there. But again, it all comes down to if you don't, know that there is like Lisa, hey, if you take that $100 bill, you're going to go to jail. Well, if I know, if Lisa knows she can just take that $100 bill off there, it's not hurting anybody, and she's not going to go to jail for it. Well, guess what? She's going to take that $100 bill. It's the same thing. These people are just riding roughshod over the law, and they never get called on their nonsense, right? And so, what do they care? I don't care. I'll break that law because nobody gets, in trouble for it. So I think it really boils down to they actually need to start holding people accountable that are doing these bad things. And remember, Virginia, you guys voted for this stuff, amazingly. Democrat-controlled Virginia Senate just passed a new bill banning the sale of assault firearms and any, quote, large capacity magazines in the state. Bill now goes to the desk of the far-left Democrat Governor Abigail Spanberger. What do you think, Mac? You think she's going to sign that one? I think she'll sign it. I mean, it's just a mess. And like these people, they have all these new taxes that are coming on them now. And it's like, do we need to see this big flashing neon light? Like, do people need to be shown it? Is that why we're doing this? Because unless it's kind of repeated, people won't see it.
Outside of, Northern Virginia, I mean, a lot of people use guns in Virginia. Just insanity. Yeah, I'm scratching my head. This is rather wild, but we know that Virginia's been corrupt. I just thought it would have been cleaned up, but obviously it has not, because the Senate's Democrat controlled. So they got to get them out. I guess are the midterms part of this with Virginia? So
it's ridiculous.
I don't know.
I got Lisa, any comments on that one here? And then I got a question.
No.
You're good? Okay. So here's my state of Rhode Island. In 2022, bans the possession, sale, and transfer of high-capacity magazines that hold more than 10 rounds of ammunition. This law applies to both handguns and long guns. Ooh, rifles? with limited exceptions for law enforcement and active duty military. Violating this can result up to 5 years and a fine of up to $5,000. Well, guess what, guys? I got 5 or 6 magazines, and I think the least amount any of them can hold is 16. I think, was it 15 or 16? And I do have one that's 32. But so here's my question. Mac, I'll ask you. You're a United States resident, so maybe you know, and maybe I don't know. But I can have this in my house, right? I can still keep a 32 round magazine in my house if I want to, right? I can't just go around on the streets and walk around with it. But if I'm in my house and somebody comes in and I shoot them 30 times or 11 times, one more than the 10 maximum, am I going to get in trouble if I have this in my own residence? I don't know that holds any bearing outside of your residence. No, I know. Wait, you're not? Shit, this show's over.
No, but I mean, it sounds like if it was self-defense, it would legitimize it, and it's in your house. You're not. But I thought Trump passed open carry. It all depends if the guns classification. They're talking about assault rifles here, so we all know an AR-15 is not an assault rifle, and I'm. They constantly do this with the Second Amendment, and I'm just over it. I wish they would just clean all this up, but I think it's just largely pointing to the fact that we still have some work to do in certain states to get out the infiltration.
Oh, 100%. What needs to happen, though, honestly, and I'm glad you said what you said, because, kind of sick of seeing this stuff, but I thought we were on that path to where it's like, all right, we're good, because we had the Supreme Court with the New York State Gun Club or something like that, where they were going to go for their carry permit. And so literally that changed everything nationwide. Even in Rhode Island, you used to have to go to the Secretary of State's office, and you have to provide them with a reason as to why you wanted to have a handgun or carry a handgun on you. Now, so that was a may issue state scenario. Now it's a shall issue. From what I understand, you can go to the local the chief of police in your town and say, hey, I want it, and they're going to give it to you. And you don't need to provide like a reason, because it is your right. And so I thought some of these things would have been handled like that. And so I would say that the people of Virginia need to get together and file a lawsuit and bring it all the way to the Supreme Court and say, shall not be infringed. Shall not be infringed. What does that mean? You can't mess with it at all. So, Lisa, any comments? I know your country is a little.
No, I agree. Because does it say what type of gun or rifle you can have? I don't think so. You know what I mean? Does it stipulate you can only have? Well, you can have a gun, but you can only have this type of gun. It doesn't do that. What law what law that they brought in was it regarding, you call it bump stock or something like that? Yep,
bump
stock. Was that not struck down?
I thought
Have
so
I got
too.
that right?
I thought so
was
too.
struck
There's
down.
been a bunch that have been struck down recently, but this passing is kind of like you said, it's begging for a Supreme Court hearing.
Yeah.
They're currently legal right now, is what it's telling me now, Lisa. Bump stocks are currently legal. Yep, legal. June 2024 court case, Supreme Court.
Yeah, 2009. Yeah, so they overturned a 2019 ATF ban. Mm-hmm. So, I think that's telling you something as well. And then I can't remember who it was. Was it a migrant? Maybe not. Anyway, somebody took it to the Supreme Court and won. Just about, they was just saying they can't carry a gun. And then at some point, maybe in 2020, they were delaying giving people a gun license. So apparently people would apply and they'd purposely just not process it, and they got in trouble there too.
Yeah. Second Amendment to the United States Constitution, ratified in 1791 as part of the Bill of Rights, reads, quote, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be effed with, is how you should read that. It shouldn't be messed with at all. Like, at all. Any aspect of it. Oh, you need a license to carry your gun? Nope, should not be infringed. You can't have more than 10 rounds in your magazine? Nope, can't be infringed, right? Oh, you can't walk around with that? Can't be infringed. Anything having to do with that should not be messed with, period, exclamation point. So I'm very surprised to Mac's point, like, Virginia? Like, Virginia is, like, really? You're allowing them to do that?
Under Trump, the ATF has been substantially deregulated or defunded. And so they're the ones that do a lot of the regulations on the guns, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm seeing that we're seeing some sunlight, and this is like some of their last ditch efforts to try to take it down, because at some point it's just not gonna work anymore, because we know people kill people, not guns. So
hey, handguns can't just go kill somebody by themselves?
Yeah, I saw one walk down the street the other day, killed a person.
What a jerk. And this is funny, guys. So I mentioned the other day that my son's going to Florida this week, and he's with the in-laws. So I told him, I'm like, hey, psst. I said, remember that suntan lotion's got metals in it, so it'll burn you. He's like, whatever. And so his grandmother, she always slathered herself up with suntanning lotion for years and always hit the beach super hard. And she did get some skin cancer at some certain points. And her husband thinks very much like me. He's a very conspiracy-minded person, and he never wears it. So I said to my son, I said, hey, guys, hey, how you doing down there? He's like, oh, good. It's, nice by the coastline. I said, good. Did you get burned at all today? He's like, nope, because I use suntan lotion. I'm like, okay, how about Papa? Nope. Did he get burnt? He goes, no, but he was more in the shade than we were. I'm like, okay, buddy. So, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, but I've seen that dude, and I'm sure we played it on this show, where there's a guy in Hawaii. He's like, I'm out here all day, and I don't ever put suntan lotion on. He goes, you might get burnt the first time of the year. He goes, but it's the metals in the suntan lotion that is what's screwing you up. So I don't know if you guys wanted to say anything on that one, but you go ahead, and then we'll move on to the next one.
It's also the lack of vitamin D as well.
because you're blocking
vitamin
it, right?
D, is not really a vitamin; it's a hormone, and it helps the immune system. So people that supposedly got COVID, like they found out that they had a very low vitamin D levels, and that brings us nicely onto the CIA, don't you think?
Oh, well, I'm glad you said that. As we have something that's actually near and dear to my heart, and I just wish that I started looking into this stuff more. And maybe the death of my mother was a kind of a kickstarter to me doing what I was doing as far as taking up all this stuff. But as Lisa mentioned, the CIA is facing serious backlash after a hidden document with a potential cure for cancer is declassified after 60 years. What a coinkydink, ladies and gentlemen. Can you believe? I know this is going to sound like the greatest epiphany, the greatest reveal in the history of the world, but they had a cure for cancer and they knew about it for decades. Everybody's like rolling their eyes like, yeah, we knew this, Mike. But yeah, now we actually possibly have some proof over this stuff, right? And I read this earlier on my phone, and apparently it wants me to sign in for here. Oh, wait, let's see if I can get it. Can I get it? Did you guys happen to read any of this stuff, dude? Because the reason I ask is that when I started reading through it, to me, it looked more like things that we were discovering during COVID about like the parasites and the equivalent of the parasites and stuff like that. So I found it very interesting in that article.
I have it up.
Want to click it?
Yeah, yeah.
Want to share screen? Okay, just read it. Good.
The CIA document was based on a 1950 article published in the Soviet Scientific Journal by a professor. I'm not going to try his name. Alpatov. A researcher studying the biochemical behavior of endoparasite organisms that live inside the body of a host. American intelligence analysis translated and circulated the paper because it was considered potentially relevant to biomedical and national defense research during the early years of the Cold War. According to the Soviet research, summarized in the report, one of the most striking similarities between parasitic worms and cancer cells was their metabolism. Parasitic worms that inhabit the human intestine rely heavily on anaerobic, if I'm saying that right, metabolism, meaning they generate energy without requiring large amounts of oxygen. Tumor cells appear to behave in a comparable way, often relying on altered metabolic pathways that allow them to survive in oxygen-poor environments inside the body. Both parasites and tumors were also observed to accumulate large stores of glycogen, a molecule used by cells as an energy reserve. This buildup suggested that both types of tissue might operate under unusual metabolic conditions compared with healthy cells. Researchers classify these tissues as aerofermentor metabolic type, a term used by German scientist T.H. Brand, meaning they can produce energy even when oxygen is low and can also survive in an oxygen-free environment. Let's see, this dual metabolic ability may help tumors survive in densely packed tissue where the blood supply is limited. And now I'll stop there.
That's crazy, huh?
And that's something Lisa's been talking about for a long time too. If you want to comment on that,
yeah,
Lisa.
So I'm just looking at the document produced in February 1951. Well, guess who did this? Did you say it was a Russian document, Mike?
Yeah, Soviet.
Yeah. All right. Oh, okay. So guess who owned the science magazines at that time?
Oh God.
You got one guess.
1950s.
Fauci.
Yeah.
No, that's way too early. 50s.
No.
Who's that recluse billionaire? I don't know. I'm probably not right. The golden
Rockefellers.
I'll give you a clue. Maximum jizz.
No way.
Maxwell's dad, Robert Maxwell, because he went in and he bought up the science magazines and also is producing education. He had a publishing company producing educational books as well. But him, and I think it was Soros as well, but they went in there and they basically, bought up the science magazines. And then remember, you're talking about Rockefeller had already taken over let's say the medical industry, and they'd found out that the medicines that they were making out of petroleum were giving people cancer, so they had to do something. So I think somewhere you'll find in American law statutes or something, there might be something. I don't know whether it's called the Cancer Act. Anyway, it just means that you can't turn around and say that you cure cancer. They also, I think, in Nixon time, he brought in something 71, the National Cancer Act of 1971. So it was supposedly a coordinated effort to combat cancer. Yes, but if you can look at the kind of strategy here, Rockefeller's giving out the medicine that they know is giving people cancer. Now they do this big push for cancer. A lot of money is raised. A lot of federal money goes towards it. They control the training. They control the treatment. You know the score and you know the playbook. And that's what's happened with cancer. In the UK, it's like only certain people are allowed to deal with cancer. And I know in the US, you can't go, oh, ivermectin cures cancer. Remember, they kept that from you. So all of these, and then also the the biochemical kind of makeup of cancer is the same as parasites. Oh, so does that mean that when things get rid of parasites, they get rid of cancer? Oh, do you see where I'm coming from? Like, come on. Yeah. Absolutely, it's ridiculous, but I see it as all part of their plan to control. They were controlling the oil industry. They realized that they can make money out of the medical industry. They control the medical industry. They wrote a paper, one white paper written by a teacher, no experience in medicine, and that said that natural medicines don't work. That's why Your doctors aren't prescribing any natural medicines, and then they also control the education and the instruction and the qualifications. Do you see what I mean? So they got everybody brainwashed.
And the certificate.
That's what I mean. You know, you need to be licensed to be able to do that type of thing, you know. So that's why people are careful when they're putting out their natural remedies and all of that, and they have to say, "Oh, we're not saying that it cures cancer," even if it does. You know,
just happens to. This is crazy, and you know, just kind of reading along here, like Lisa was mentioning. It says parasitic worms which live in the intestines exhibit a pronounced anaerobic metabolism. They deposit in their bodies large quantities of glycogen. The accumulation of glycogen is one of the properties which they share with tumors. What a coinky-dink. The tissues, both intestinal parasitic worms and cancer tumors, belongs to the amphibiotic, something oxybiotical, whatever, something type. The brand's terminology. They are characterized by metabolism involving incomplete oxidizations, whatever. In 1938, he synthesized the alkylated axio something thrown, whatever, found to be effective against bilharzia and malignant tumors. The guanine analog. Okay. So, but I just find it very interesting to Lisa and Mac's point about, cancer? Parasites? And remember, we've told that story, right? The woman who, what was she trying to? She was trying to cure, I think she was trying to do cancer, right? But then the rats came down with parasites. And so she gave the parasites, I believe it was fenbendazole or ivermectin. I think it was fenbendazole. And then she was coming back a few days later to say, okay, are they gone with the parasites now? And they were like, yeah, great news. They don't have parasites anymore, but they also don't have cancer anymore. What a coinky-dink. And I don't know this to be true or if Mac or Lisa had heard anything about this as well, but certain people report, and again, I'm not a doctor, so do not listen to me for medical advice. But I've heard on a few different people's reporting about like cancerous lumps, and when they actually go in to do the biopsy, essentially some people look at it like, well, your body actually protects itself by that lump is like your body trying to protect you, and it encapsulates the tumor. And so when you go in to do a biopsy, it's like you're kind of cutting it and letting it out. And as historically people understand, a lot of times after you do a biopsy, you'll have an explosion of things in that area. So I don't know if that holds any validity. I don't know if you guys have heard that reporting on that, but
absolutely, because a tumor is like your body's defense system. So it holds the cancer. And what do? We stick a fork in it and let all the toxins out, all the cancer cells. Do you see what I mean? So that it kind of proliferates. And then I'm just trying to find something for you here. There's Robert Kennedy Jr. You've got to listen to this. I'm just sending it you in. And thank you very much, Misha D, for this. But you just got to play this. It's really short. Just listen to what he says. And it basically confirms everything that we've been saying. Yes, I've just put it in the bottom of the channel. Very apt for right now. Just listen to it. It's 1 minute and 16, but check what he says, and you have to listen to it right at the end.
Let's see what old Robert's saying. Let's see here. Wing, ding, ding. All right. Well, hold on. Didn't want to let me go there. Here we go.
Thank you very much. Thank you for those kind words, Mark Wayne. Thank you to Jim O'Neill, to Tom Jodesnik, to Marty McCary, and to Wendy as well. Thank you for that, for sharing your story. It's with a heavy heart that I'm announcing that the conspiracy theorists were right again. COVID mRNA vaccines caused a litany of injuries, including but not limited to turbo cancer, heart failure, extreme blood clotting, and perhaps gayness. That's a chicken and egg problem that we're still investigating. The implications are substantial, and there's no easy way to say this. Anthony Fauci is a goblin. And if you weren't gay prior to taking the vaccine, there's a massive chance that your sudden desire to binge the Bravo channel and watch Tim Walz rallies
Bravo channel
isn't an accident.
Unreal. Oh yes, in case
Sorry,
you
I
didn't
just thought
know.
that was funny.
No, you're good.
Go on.
But no, I mean,
But
he's right though. The funny thing is, it's a parody, but he's right about everything that was said there. Essentially, maybe not the gay stuff.
all the stuff because of the wide distribution of the COVID vaccine. They have a lot of data. They don't have to go anywhere for the data. And there was a study of millions of people regarding turbo cancers. Yes, and it's proliferated. And the other thing that I wanted to say was, I have to bash the Brits,
Yes.
but like sugar feeds cancer, and it's like at some point sugar was basically like money, the sugar trade, and us Brits, we were pushing, like this processed sugar. Tate and Lyle, I don't know if you know Tate and Lyle who do sugar, but we've been pushing that for years. But sugar was like money back in the day. Yes. Remember, they did the sugar cane and all of that, but then they processed it and made it like, these white whatever, and it feeds cancer. That processed sugar.
Oh, 100%.
Natural sugar's fine.
We were talking about that before, right? Right before the show. I'm like, do I want to drink this vitamin, immunity drink? But it's got a lot of sugar in it, but it's all just sugar. There's no sugar added to it. So theoretically, it's the sugar in the fruit itself.
But you sometimes have to be careful when they say natural. Well, to give you an example, if you see natural flavorings on any drink, for years I used to think, oh, it's natural, I'll drink it, no problem. And it turns out that natural flavoring isn't actually natural flavoring, but that's what they call it. It's some kind of additive that comes from, I don't know whether it's kidney cells or whatever, but it's in a lot of so-called natural drinks. Natural flavoring doesn't need
like in everything
any natural flavor
on the shelves.
Yeah. And it's something that they don't have to, they don't explain it, but they call it natural flavoring, but it's anything but natural flavoring. So I wonder, when it says natural sugars, is that the same kind of, is it done on the same kind of premise? I wonder. Because why would you need to say it if it's in there? Or you might say ingredients and it includes natural sugars that I don't know, but maybe there's something in that. I don't know. Maybe somebody in the channel can answer that one. Natural flavoring is not natural, but they call it natural flavoring, and everybody's allowed to add it.
Yeah. Well, they have. Go ahead, Mac. Everybody.
I believe it's the Bill Emerson Good Samaritan Food Donation Act. I believe is where it's like, it's a federal law that provides liability protection for food companies donating surplus food in good faith. So they need to do something about that thing, because I think that's what's the loophole of them. Here, you can read some more of this. The loophole of them being able to put whatever in there without actually like really defining it. And
this is why they
it's like
throw
where
away
they
food.
experiment. It's like we need to do the opposite. It's like you can only use these products, and if you go outside that scope, we need to see what it is. And we've gotten like way out of control. Go ahead, Lisa.
Well, I think this kind of relates to something that Robert Kennedy Jr. has looked into, and I think it's food stamps. Didn't he ban like junk food, the people from buying junk food?
Yes, like heavily
with food stamps
stuff.
and things like that. Yes. So what they're saying is, if you want to give to needy individuals, you can kind of give them anything that you feel like doing, and there's no liability because you're giving to the needy. But it's like they're not saying anything about giving them poison.
Exactly. That's why they say they get rid of a lot of this food. They throw food away too because they're worried about being sued. You know, you work at a restaurant or any of these places, you can see them throwing away tons of food, and you say, "Oh, why don't they just give it to the homeless people?" Well, because some jerk off in history said, "Oh, I got sick over this. I'm gonna sue people." Like, well, you could die if you don't eat. Be like, yeah, but I might get sick, so don't want to do that. Very weird.
It appears that all 50 states have different laws, having to do with food. So it makes it, I think, hard for them. But at the same time, we need to figure it out. I guess that just promotes more local growing, more local companies to provide food. But I totally agree. We're eating a bunch of crap and we don't even know it half the time. It's terrible.
And guys, President Trump put something very interesting on his Truth Social a little while ago. I don't know how long it is. Let me click on it here. I'm just going to click to see. It's yeah, you know what? It's 2 minutes. I think we're going to play this because it's very interesting, and it's something I know a lot of folks that I talk to enjoy as well. And so Mac and Lisa, let's see here. Pull her up. Where'd you go? So they are not seeing the screen just yet. This one was like 4 or 5 minutes. That's interesting. Talks about President Trump's Bible. Yeah. So but this one right here, I'm going to kind of just keep it quiet for a second.
This that shall take place shall be the most unusual thing, a transfiguration, a going into the marketplace, if you wish, into the news media, where Time magazine will have no choice but to say what I want them to say. Newsweek, what I want to say. The View, what I want to say. Trump shall become a trumpet, says the Lord. Trump shall become a trumpet. I will raise up the Trump to become a trumpet, and Bill Gates to open up the gate of a financial realm for the church, says the Lord. I will not forget 9/11. I will not forget what took place that day, and I will not forget the gatekeeper that watched over New York, who will once again stand and watch over this nation, says the Spirit of God. It shall come to pass that the man that I place in the highest office shall go in whispering my name. But God said when he enters into the office, he will be shouting out by the power of the Spirit, for I shall fill him with my Spirit when he goes into office, and there will be a praying man in the highest seat in your land. There will be a praying president, not a religious one, but I will fool the people, says the Lord. I will fool the people. Yes, I will. God says, the one that is chosen shall go in, and they shall say, he has hot blood. For the Spirit of God says, yes, he may have hot blood, but he will bring the walls of protection on this country in a greater way, and the economy of this country shall change rapidly, says the Lord of hosts. Listen to the word of the Lord. God says, I will put at your helm for 2 terms a president that will pray, but he will not be a praying president when he starts. I will put him in office, and then I will baptize him with the Holy Spirit and my power, says the Lord of hosts. Come
on! So I'm like, did they just copy all the clips that I put together and made in my video called Divinely Elected a few years ago? I don't even know where to start on that one. The walls of protection around the country. Trump will become a trumpet. And then did you guys notice too? He says The View, and I didn't notice CNN on there, but CNN's already starting to talk like he wants. But the media, if you guys have noticed, is slowly starting to, like we showed earlier about the SAVE Act, what was it, 76% or whatever. And then my question becomes, Mac, you're going on, a 19-year delta here or whatever, but, April is a month away, essentially, January, February, March, April. Is he, what do you think he dropped this for here today? Do you think this is a marker, perhaps? And I think from time to time he does that, but any thoughts whatsoever on The video just played. The fact that Trump posted it, and the fact that he posted it now, not a year ago. Anything.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to look into it too much, but I found it very interesting. Makes you want to think of what happens on April 4th, 2027 as well. But yeah, I mean, basically, Kim Clement prophesied. I don't know, prophesied. I looked up that today. It wasn't a word, prophesizing. So is it prophesized? I don't know, but the person that Trump is,
Yep.
he definitely predicted that. So, and we needed a fighter because the system's been so corrupt. I mean, I think about it all the time. He was the only person that I know of that's living that would be able to take this on, given his personality traits, his genius, his marketing ability, his work ethic, and his faith in God. So, and that has developed over time, but we have gotten glimpses through our research that he has been a praying man. He's been a praying man for a long time. That's what Kim Clement said. But he's had his Bible for since he was a child. So.
That's this one here.
Yeah.
And Lisa, and anything on that? I love all the old Kim Clement stuff because you look back and then you look forward and it's like, yeah, he was onto something, and he apparently got extremely sick while he was on his way to go meet President Trump before he had passed away.
I've maybe listened to him like years ago. I haven't really fully studied him. I think you've said what needs to be said there. I just put a couple of articles in the bottom of the channel as well, as we're on the subject of President Trump, regarding it was Jesse Jackson's funeral the other day, and of course, everything's going off with Iran, so of course Trump wasn't there. But guess what? 3 presidents turned up: Biden, Obama, and Clinton. And guess what they did? So the son asked that everybody, Republican, Democrat, liberals, whoever you are, you're welcome. It's Jesse Jackson. Yes.
That's awesome.
But what I don't want you to do is, be political. Let's leave that out. Every single one of them. Oh, except for Clinton. Clinton wasn't so bad, but Biden and Obama used it as an opportunity at a funeral of Jesse Jackson to bash Trump, and it was bad. Let me tell you. So now the son has come out, and the son's like, "No, you did wrong," and didn't like the fact that they used the funeral for their pulpit. And Biden. What the articles don't mention is that Biden, when he gave his speech, he told the attendees that, which included, obviously, a significant number of black people, "I'm a hell of a lot smarter than you," is what he said.
Oh, no.
But I think it was pretty disgusting for them to use a funeral. And, of course, there were... kind of distancing Trump from Jesse Jackson when we know that they were really good longtime friends.
Right? Yeah, remember he was in the Jesse Jackson and him and Muhammad Ali and Rosa frickin' Parks, of all people, got an award at the inner city award in New York years and years ago. And well, let's see. He said he sat there listening to hours for presidents speaking about Jesse Jackson despite barely knowing the man personally. Let's take a listen to 1 minute and 17 seconds of Jesse Jackson Jr., JJJ.
Yesterday, I listened for several hours of 3 United States presidents who do not know Jesse Jackson.
Ooh.
Boom.
He maintained a tense relationship with the political order, not because the presidents were white or black, but the demands of our message, the demands of speaking for the least of these, those who were disinherited, the damned, the dispossessed, the disrespected, demanded not Democratic or Republican solutions, but demanded a consistent, prophetic voice that at no point in time ever sold us out as a people. And it speaks volumes about who the Reverend Jesse Jackson was.
Oh my goodness.
Tell you what, it was cracking. And they really
well deserved.
Yeah, if you listen to what Obama said, it was purely like banging the same old Obama drum. And then you got bumbling Biden doing the same thing. So basically they were acting like they were on the campaign trail at a funeral. How disrespectful is that? Yes? And then Obama was saying about Trump not liking black people and being racist and this and that. It was terrible. It was really, really terrible. I can't believe that they did it. You can see the reaction.
It's really, really great exposure of how evil they are. You gotta think about the black community. How many people? I remember growing up, Jesse Jackson was everywhere, and he was a big part of the African American community. So. Right. Not just in politics. I later found out he was close with Trump. I didn't really know a lot much about Trump growing up, but people got to be waking up to that. That's just a big slap in the face. You're there to celebrate the man's life instead of politically.
What's that lady saying?
I bet she's going off. I'm looking at her like, oh, she's about to go off.
Oh yeah, she is. And what do you got here? You got I think that's Joe DiMaggio. I don't know. Is that Trump's father? I don't know who that is, but I think that's Joe DiMaggio. Not sure who that is. Muhammad Ali, Rosa Parks, and there was another picture with Jesse Jackson. So I was just pulling him up, but he was definitely in this. I don't think it was the NAACP awards. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong one, but this is 4 minutes. We're definitely not going to play it, but I'll play any little kids in the area, guys. Just give them some air muffs for about 20-30 seconds. I think she gets to say what she wants in the first 10. So here we go.
When I tell you that I wanted to vomit when I looked at Reverend Jesse Jackson's funeral, I really literally thought that it was going to be a joyous occasion. I thought they were going to remember and list down everything that this man had achieved, all his legacies, the trials and tribulations that he went through. No, instead, these delusional, sorry, stinking bastard Democrats made it about them. I can't believe you all disrespected that damn man's funeral like that. And I'm not going to shut my mouth up any longer because that was so messed up what you all did. The family couldn't even grieve, but they basically told you bastards not to make it political, and you did it anyway. Y'all do not care about the family. Y'all didn't care about Jesse. Y'all didn't care about nothing. Y'all stomped on that man's time. That was his homegoing, and y'all made it about trying to push a political narrative that nobody wants to follow behind y'all on. The pastor got up there and he said that the Capitol was full of pedophiles and podcasters. That was horrible. Horrible.
What? I didn't watch the funeral.
I missed that part.
Well, again,
yeah,
he said what was full of pedophiles and what?
Oh, I'm definitely going to play that again. What the heck?
Podcasters.
Oh,
that was hard. The pastor got up there and he said.
So he said the pastor got up there and said.
The pastor got up there and he said that the Capitol was full of pedophiles and podcasters. That was horrible. Horrible.
Wow.
Then Obama.
Suddenly, I want to listen to the rest of this. let's play it by ear as we go here.
Just see what she said about Obama.
Oh my God.
Obamacare got up there.
Obamacare got up
And
there.
he said, there was nothing but ignorance, dishonesty and cruelty, and corruption going on. But he wasn't talking about the administration now. He was talking about you damn delusional Democrats that have stolen Ilhan Omar with the Somalian community, all type of other people, Jasmine Crockett running a district but don't even be there half the time. That's who the fuck he was talking about. All you people that have made money, Nancy Pelosi, and then y'all net worth is worth more than what y'all bring home. Y'all are the motherfuckers he was talking about, Democrats. And then Kamala Chameleon Harris, the loser that won't claim defeat. She got up there talking about nothing. Because this is a woman that don't even know what kind of race she is. She don't know if she's Indian. She don't know if she's white. She don't know if she's black. She don't even know. She don't even know if she want to be Southern or Northern accent.
Oh, I love this
Only
lady.
whenever it see fit. That's why I call her Kamala Chameleon Harris. And then she sat up there, and nobody cares about you, woman. You ran off props. You didn't deliver nothing. You would have been the worst motherfucking Indian, Hispanic, white, black woman, whatever race you want to follow. You'd have been the worst woman smoking. So that is the reason why you lost, heifer. Take your L. And you will not be over anything in California, because those citizens and people and all the people that you wronged and had locked up and did nothing for is going to make sure of that. And then, last but not least, Sleepy Joe. Y'all should have left that motherfucker asleep. That man got up there and said that he appointed the first black man to the Supreme Court. See, that's when the dementia kicked in.
Man?
It was Thurgood Marshall. And Thurgood Marshall was the first one.
Huh?
So, no. Y'all never should have had him speak. Never should have got him up there. Y'all fucked over this family's time. Y'all fucked over this family grievance. Just like y'all doing the U.S., you Democrats. Just like y'all fucking over the American people. Just like y'all have us, where we got to play catch up because y'all kept us behind with all these illegals. The same way that y'all stepped on a man's funeral is the same way y'all stepping on our Americans. But we're here to tell you, we're not taking no shit from y'all. We're not going to be y'all weapon again. Y'all not going to use us anymore. Y'all not going to use us anymore. Nice. We're not going to allow it. We're not going to tolerate it. We American people have much more common sense than you motherfuckers think we got. We are not going to put up with it. I wish I could run for some political office. I will show you bastards where I stand.
Bravo.
Somebody give her a show. You know?
Get her running for
President
something.
Trump.
Right? Jeez. I mean, and
she could be like, what was it, Diamond Silk? She could be one of the replacement.
Oh my goodness. So she said that this guy was the first African American, which, doesn't really look that way to me, but could be wrong. But he did go to Howard.
He does.
He did go to Howard. Does look a little bit, but I mean, he went to Howard and Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. I mean, that rings definitely on the African American side of things.
But
Right?
on that point, you know, we've seen, and I'm sure you've seen them, the videos of when Clarence Thomas was going through like the confirmation process to be part of the Supreme Court, to be a justice of the Supreme Court, and Biden is. I can't even repeat the things that he was saying in those hearings and those meetings. Do you not remember?
Oh God! Yeah, pubic hair on the soda can.
It was so disgusting the way that he treated Clarence Thomas because he was black, and literally, I'm not making it up. You look at it; it is so racist. It is unbelievable. I think he even calls him the N-word at some point. And
really?
Yeah. I'm going to find it. You just wouldn't believe it. It is so bad. It is so bad And for him to be at Jesse Jackson's funeral, like, no way, and talking about he appointed the first black judge or whatever. Rubbish.
This was really good.
Yeah.
Here's a response. I'm gonna play you a little response from, and guys, this is how far and wide. I don't even remember what year this was, but I remember as a kid hearing about it, like, oh my God, I can't believe that black man said that to that woman. Oh, what a horrible, and like I just, hey, it was news, it was true, right? I bought it hook, line, and sinker, and had no idea about the the volleyball of politics like we seen with Kavanaugh and stuff like that. So back then, I bought it. You know what I mean? It was just, hey, it was on the news, so it had to be true. But here was his dynamite response.
And from my standpoint, as a black American, as far as I'm concerned, it is a high-tech lynching for uppity blacks who in any way deign to think for themselves, to do for themselves, to have different ideas. And it is a message that unless you kowtow to an old order, this is what will happen to you. You will be lynched, destroyed, caricatured by a committee of the U.S. Senate rather than hung from a tree. And from my standpoint,
just so well articulated, right?
Yeah.
He killed him. And you're right. I mean, they were being vicious towards him, and they certainly didn't want him to go on there. And yes, it was chaired by Joe Biden, or it seemed like it was anyway. I mean, it's 33 years ago, but he was doing a lot of the talking, so maybe he had to have been in the chair. No,
he led the charge. Let me tell you, he led the charge. It was disgusting the way that he treated him, like disgusting. And it was very, very it's just like you would, nobody would tolerate that. Nobody would tolerate that.
He was talking down to Judge Thomas big time.
Oh yeah, hugely. Yeah,
and dropping N-bombs. I forget if it was like at him or they're reading something or talking amongst themselves, but it was like that word was just flying around back then. Apparently, I had no idea it was okay. Like, wow. But Joe Biden, he's an evil person through and through.
Joe Biden. All right, let's see what we got here.
I don't know about the guy we got going right now, but the old one was even worse.
Oh boy. Yeah, you don't know what that is. And again, guys, like, I don't know why it took me so long to pop into my head, but like, remember he kept falling up the stairs? Just look at the reaction time for when he falls till pops back up. That, I don't know if they took into consideration. They should have been like, hey, remember now when you fall, remember you're 80-something years old. You're not, 40, 50 or whoever you are. You got to get up a little slower. And he's, boom, just pops right back up. Boom, pops right back up. Very interesting how that played out. So yeah, let's see. This one I thought was very interesting, guys. This came out from, 4 o'clock today. Talking about presidents and how, what kind of an open door policy do they have, right? Remember Biden was done by like 10 a.m. and he couldn't, he basically, he was done by 10 a.m. He's not talking to anybody. And when he did, he was, mumbling moron, and then he would go walk into a wall or something like that, right? Now this is a 2.5 minute thing. I'm not going to play it all. I'm going to play about halfway. I just thought it was interesting. Pay attention. Remember, this is today as we got this war going on or whatever have you going on. And President Trump picks up and talks to this guy. Actually, you know what? This was not today. This was the day. This post was from today, but this video was from the day that, air quotes, Kristi Noem got fired. So I thought this was interesting. Let's go right about here. I think it. Come on. Always does this when you. Twitter is the worst about starting a good clip in the beginning. No problem. Here
it appeared on Truth Social, him saying that Kristi Noem was leaving and being replaced by Mark Wayne Mullen. The conversation then turned to Iran, obviously, the really big story and major decision which may define not just his presidency, but his entire political career. And I have to say, he just sounded incredibly triumphant. He said to me, they're calling me the GOAT, greatest of all time. And he asked me, and this is one of the unusual things. He asked me if I thought it was impressive, meaning the war. What do you think of the performance? He clearly feels that he is a president right now that is almost unlimited in his power, and he feels that he can do no wrong. And he told me, well, in the first term, I built the military. In my second term, I am using it. But again, the conversation goes on, and it's in the middle of the day, in the middle of the war. He had just fired his Secretary of Homeland Security, just replaced her, and, he's available and talking about it. It's very unique. Let's just say it that way. It's a very unique situation.
So, did you guys happen to catch that? I think it was right here. Right here. Did you catch that, Mac, Lisa? Let's see.
He said, what do you think of the performance?
Mac, what do you make of the performance, buddy?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what he was referring to. So, yeah.
Very interesting. But, he talks about, Trump feels very triumphant and he feels like he could do no wrong. They're calling me the GOAT. Like, he doesn't seem like he's in the mind state of like, oh no, like, oh God, hold on, I got to take this call. I got to go. I'm all stressed out, this, that, and that. He doesn't seem like he's concerned. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't seem like he's all stressed out like we've seen with other presidents in the past. So again, it kind of goes back to our original conversation when the show started earlier. It's like, what are we really witnessing here? What's really going on there? Miss Lisa, any comments to
real quick, what did he mean by what was the performance he was referring to? Like, I was being
that's what I'm saying. Like,
like, what part of the conversation was it? Like a talk he had to the nation? Was it around that time when he had that?
I think let's play it again right here, because I think he's talking about the war specifically. So right here again.
He asked me if I thought it was impressive, meaning the war. What do you think of the performance?
Like, he cares what a media guy thinks about the quote performance. I just think the terminology being used is interesting.
I think he's psychologically getting them to think positively or comment positively on the war. And then he's able to control the flow of the conversation a little bit better. But it's hard to deny that it wasn't a great military operation. So I think he's kind of rubbing it in, and those guys got to make these videos to kind of twerk it to appease their employers.
Yeah. Miss Lisa, any comments on this one here?
Just to say, what did he say about? I was just trying to think what I saw on the screen when you played Kim Clement. And it said something like the media are going to be controlled by him, or something like that, or they'll report what he's saying, or you control the narrative. Didn't he say that?
Oh yeah. And he also talked about Noman here getting fired. So that was a couple of days ago, I think.
Yeah, and one of the main reasons for that was over 200 million spent on an ad campaign that featured her, and she was being questioned in the Senate or Congress, and by our funny man, Mr. Kennedy, but he wasn't being funny at the time, and he said, "Did the president know about that?" Because I don't know if you saw those ads, but it was all Kirsty Noem in combat with a rifle, Kirsty Noem on a horse with a Stetson on, Kirsty Noem doing this, Kirsty Noem doing that, and it was supposed to be adverts for the DHS. And she's actually said, when questioned, that President Trump sanctioned that she spent 240 odd million on those adverts. And Kennedy rang Trump and said, "Did you sanction Kirsty Noem?" He said, "I knew nothing about it." And all of the adverts just featured her. 200 and odd million of taxpayer money was spent on an ad campaign that was promoting her.
Yeah, Christy, no. But then she's fired. But wait, no, she was given another position. And it's just like, again, smoke, fog, mirrors. Like, what are we watching here? Because, you know, and then I don't know if it was this show that we covered it on, but there was other things that, there was other reporting that possibly Homeland Security was slow walking some of the investigations as well. And that could have been it. But then again, if that was true, you think he would have just fired her outright, not given her another position, unless that position is like, you know, watching a door in Siberia or something like that. But I don't know. Mac?
One additional thought on the performance. I think of, in military terms, theater of war. So that refers to the entire land, sea, and air area that is or may become directly involved in military operations. So that could have been the lingo that President Trump could have been also referring to.
You were watching a scripted movie, Mac. That's what the performance is. I don't know. I mean, again, you know, it's just the terminology that he uses, just very, very odd. All right, so I think, and I know you guys have been dropping stuff as we've been going through here, but I think I got through all the stuff that you guys had dropped as well. If I didn't, please remind me of it. And I just thought this was funny. I just called this one. This was Trump putting out a bunch of different pictures of people that were arrested for, I don't know if it was the sweep ups or whatever, but I was just like, hey, I think they mislabeled this one. Let me see. Oh, yeah, this one was good too, guys. This one was very interesting. I don't know what to make of this, guys, but this is a video game being played here, and hopefully it's not too loud. See. So it's a video game. Cool. Who cares? A petri dish of human brain cells just learned to play Doom. This is above my my pay grade. Yes, it's real. Cortical Labs cultured 200,000 living human neurons on a chip with electrode arrays. They mapped the cell's electrical signals to control Doom's movement and shooting. The neurons adapted in about a week, learning basic navigation, shooting like total beginners. It's a big leap from their 2020 Pong demo towards biological computing, wild tech. So guys, 4 years ago, they were having a game where essentially, if you remember Pong, you had a slider this on this side and a slider on this side, and the ball went bing, and you had to hit it, bing, bounce it off, bing. Now this thing is out there playing, you know, shooter games, essentially. You gotta go aim at a target, hit it, turn around, hit a target. That's crazy. And guys, this is admittedly above my pay grade. I don't know, you know, I'm not a big scientist, guys, but Mac, any comments on this? You know, what the hell else are these you know, Frankenstein doctors working on next? That's what I'm wondering.
I just find it oddly fast how a lot of this stuff keeps just building up.
Right.
More impressive. Like each week, it's a build up of some sort. So, you know, obviously they justify this stuff for medical applications. I don't know where they're taking this. They've always talked about the UAP stuff that they've found biologics that would control, like embedded into the UAP that could control the device. So say you made a computer made out of biologics that like was like essentially AI, you can make a live craft. So, you know, that's kind of where my head is reverse engineering where this came from, this idea. So we'll see.
That's crazy. Miss Lisa, anything you want to mention on this thing? That's bananas. Whether AI is alive. Ugh. Don't even get me started on this stuff.
I think I don't know. I think with AI, and people can disagree with me or whatever, but I think that they're trying to, they promoted the AI that they've got as if it's much more capable than what it is. So they're kind of trying to tell us that it thinks and all of that. It's like, no, it learns a pattern.
You get like that as like an Android kind of thing happening. We'll have a live robot as like the Antichrist?
No, I wasn't thinking about that. I was more thinking about just the way that they talk about AI in general, you know, and what it can do and what it's doing. And I think that they potentially are overselling it. So, oh, it can act like a human and all of that. So you're all interacting with AI. And I spoke to a friend the other day, and that person was like, "Oh, well, I pay for ChatGPT, and I've talked to it, and it can be helpful, but maybe maybe there's a bit of oversell right now. It's not human."
Ugh.
And it's nowhere near as good as consciousness, right? Is all I'm saying. I think they're pushing it to be as if it's more sentient than what it is, and I just don't think so. Great patterns and stuff.
Commercially to pump up a company, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Give them some clout and stuff like that for sure.
Ran across an interview the other day, had to do with somebody that was, into classified programs, and they were talking about anything that really comes out into the public has been with the military, at least 30 years fooling around. I don't know if we've talked about it on the show or on air about like where the internet came from and emails. It was all inside the government, probably computers as well. So I think this is kind of it's an interesting thing that they're doing because they've had it in control, so they're kind of giving us the ability to use it. And I think Trump stepping in on that one company, and basically they're suing now. What was it? Apoctico was the AI company, and they made them a liability to the government, and they canceled their contracts. Go ahead.
It's just crazy. I mean,
it's an interesting time we're living in.
Yeah. Let me just thank a couple folks here because I'm a little behind here. G-Fonts dropped a dollar rant, says fascist, or rather the quote Nazis, were as much or farther to the left as the Soviet communists were or are to this very day. Per history, I learned from 1985 to now. Thank you for that, G-Fonts. And then OH58 Captain brought my attention to this one and dropped a $5 Rumble rant. Says, Supreme Court ruled any ban on magazine capacity is unconstitutional. But it's just crazy, right? Because, yeah, they're ruling on this one. This one says Court of Appeals. And I don't know, if I even had, I maybe took it off the screen here earlier. But even in the face of that, when is this? This is March, and you're going back to, March of 26. Washington, D.C.'s ban on it, right? But this is Virginia now. And it's like, so they keep playing this little shell game. Like, I'm going to pop up a law. And then by the time it makes its way back to court, maybe 6 months or a year or 2 years, then maybe we'll get it overturned. But yeah, the people of the state of Virginia need to not let themselves be kind of run roughshod over. You need to definitely take the stuff to court immediately. So thank you for those there, guys. Just wanted to read those out as we're going here. Mac Lisa, what else we got on the... I know you had a funny thing for... funny payback is a B. I don't know. Oh, wait. This is... Funny payback is a B. I don't even know. Oh, this is one I was going to play yesterday, but I didn't. Let me see. Mac Lisa, anything else you wanted to cover? I did have this one that basically I don't think I got to cover yesterday. Maybe I did, but there's a... Did you see the Australian Nick Shirley? 52-minute investigation. Apparently they're having the same stuff going on over there. Massive 52-minute investigation into Australia's immense disability fraud crisis. Minnesota on national scale. The budget now $50 billion a year, closing in on Australia's entire military budget. Lisa, can you mute, por favor? And there's so much fraud in the system that the official government regulator told the Australian Senate there are not enough judges in Australia to try all the known cases of fraud. The entire Australian legal system would collapse if they tried. 99% of NDIS fraud goes unprosecuted. Out of over 7,000 tip-offs alleging fraud in March quarter of 25, just 16 cases were prosecuted. So alleged scammers don't even bother to hide the abuse. So here's your Australian Nick Shirley. Hey, mate, you want to hear a little yelling in Australia-ish?
Don't think to come to St. Clair. Are you going to be in the trouble?
Can I ask you a
understand?
question?
No.
Is this a legitimate business?
Hey, mate, is this a legitimate business here, mate? We're just trying to find out what's going on. He doesn't sound too Australian to me, does she, guys?
Bro, get out.
Hey,
get
please,
out.
that's assault because this is my
That's
property.
Hey.
I'm loving this, guys. You know, everywhere fraud, people are stealing away from other people that could be using it. It needs to be exposed. So I'm just glad that it is. I mean, it's just crazy, guys. And you're talking about the disability businesses here. So people that genuinely need disability help may not be getting it, and then they're giving it to people who genuinely don't need it. So very interesting. More fraud worldwide. And you guys remember, too, when we covered the Nick Shirley stuff when it was first starting, we were also showing cases in, what was it, Switzerland or Sweden or both, maybe? I forget what it was, but a lot of fraud is being exposed in a lot of places, not just the United States, not just Minnesota, as we're seeing it's coming into California heavily. I'm sure Illinois will be a big one as well. New York is going to be fun to see all of that fraud as well. But Mac, Lisa, where are we going? It's 9:30, and you guys always want to keep going, so let's go. What do we got?
I've got
I got no kid here. I got nothing. I got no excuses. Somebody put a comment on my YouTube thing like, Space Shot always has an excuse to leave. I'm like, yeah, it's called life. I got things to do sometimes. But tonight, hey, let's do it.
Posted a little article down there or post.
Oh, wait.
About
just really
Epstein.
quick, because I think who dropped this one? Lisa, I think maybe. Was this actually at the funeral and she was really doing this? Oh. Let me just play this quick, and then I'll get to that one.
I believe so.
Yeah, it is. I didn't see the beginning. I cannot believe this. Hold on. So let me just say, did she show up drunk to a funeral? And I can't believe what I'm going to see here. And just keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, we're not at a comedy store here. This is supposed to be a solemn situation where somebody had passed away, okay? Just keep that in mind.
So let me just say, I predicted a lot about what's happening right now.
He's dead. He's dead. Isn't that great?
I'm not into saying I told you so, but we did see it coming.
He is shit-faced.
What I did not predict is that we would not have right now.
Oh. I mean, that is just. I mean, and I'm not even joking. Is it? What do you think, Lisa? Is it more that she's trying to put on the black accent, or is she drunk, or both?
Both.
Let's listen to the first 3 seconds.
I don't know. If you pause it at certain places, it doesn't even look like her face. Like that doesn't look like her face. Like when her mouth gets around the mic, it's really interesting. Look at that.
Yeah, maybe it's like, oh yeah, you can see like light bends around objects, right?
Does that look like her at all, or is it just me?
Yeah, it does look a little off too. Let's play like 2 seconds here, and then I'll mute it, and we'll watch here.
So let me just say, I predicted a lot about what's happening right now.
I predicted a lot about what's happening right now. I just had a bunch of whiskey in the back, and oh my god!
Well, that woman said she doesn't know whether she speaks with a southern or a northern accent. You know.
Yeah, but it's definitely. I mean, that's when you start noticing some of the, if they are doing certain things. But by all accounts, this was filmed in front of a bunch of people. But again, who knows what's for show and what's not for show? Okay, so Mac, you dropped something down there. Let me see.
Yeah, just another
crazy.
angle of Epstein, and we always said that it was tied into technology and stuff. And this guy Eric Weinstein is very interesting. Very well known in the physics community, and I'll let him talk about it.
All right, here we go. Here we go, mate.
Donald Trump has now said he will release all the classified files on UFOs and aliens. And you posted after that, an enormous secret is buried here. I have failed to guess it year after year. What did you mean by that?
We have a puzzle that I can't solve. There is more accumulated anecdotal, circumstantial, and sporadic evidence of an enormous program about UFOs
than I know how to dismiss. I've talked to people who have strikingly similar firsthand accounts of bizarre behavior, either in terms of objects in the skies or the seas, or seeming U.S. government employees with no insignia and no identification behaving in bizarre ways. I can't explain the amount of firsthand claims from non-actors delivered with perfect sincerity that would make Hollywood blush if there isn't a reality behind it. Now, sometimes we get a look at that. For example, there's a private Air Force that seems to come down from the skies and destroy equipment of people observing UFOs that I think turned out to be the CIA's Office of Global Access. I wasn't smart enough to figure out how you could hide an Air Force inside of the United States from a breakaway society, but I think it was just the CIA. So, that was bad for me. I didn't get that right. I think what you're seeing is that there's probably a very long-standing program, particularly involving physics, and particularly involving aerospace companies, not as aerospace as we know it, but as shells in which you can put very sensitive stuff that could be FOIA'd if it was found inside of government. I don't know what's in that structure. I think Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is going to be very important. There's a site in Indiana, several in New Mexico. My guess is that you're going to find out that a lot of these stories, just take New Mexico. New Mexico is going to be the hub that connects atomic weapons, UFOs, and Jeffrey Epstein. And they're all going to merge into one story about power that we don't understand. Human power is going to be centered in a state that we barely ever talk about, and including Bill Richardson at the Department of Energy, which, of course, is really the custodian of physics and our nuclear weapons that Jimmy Carter converted from the AEC, where atomic energy was the cover story for atomic weapons. So it went from atomic weapons to atomic energy to just energy. And now we sound like Bill Richardson went there to be the head of oil and gas. So I think that you're going to find out that New Mexico is going to be the hub that connects all these stories.
That's crazy.
And where was his ranch?
Oh, Epstein was in New Mexico. Yeah.
Interesting. And I get the impression that he's alluding to secrets are being stolen or sold to other entities possibly, and that it could lead me to believe why one of the reasons why Harvard has been under the Trump administration's scrutiny a lot. Just the theory.
It's crazy. I mean, you got to think, is there more going on behind the scenes? Because it's, in my opinion, there definitely is, right? But also, it is going to always come down, in my opinion, to energy. It runs the world, right? We talk about, this cold fusion TAE stuff, but he's talking about like some larger thing, right? Some larger story that we're just not aware of, and it sounds like it may be coming out. I don't know. We'll see, but it is very interesting. And then he talked about breakaway societies as well. I thought that was cool.
Yes. Epstein was part of something called the Lifeboat Foundation. And the Lifeboat Foundation is full of all of these scientists, experts, and all of that. And it's all about creating societies and underground cities and things like that, living and all of that. And what was the other thing he was part of?
Well, was it Terramar? That one?
No, that was Ghislaine Maxwell's thing, but that was just a kind of
Clinton initiative.
Really, I thought it was more like a shell company. So just like Bill Gates, when he got caught monopolizing like operating systems and apps on his computers and stuff, he suddenly set up the Bill Gates Foundation, yes, to rectify his profile and credibility. Epstein got caught, and Ghislaine Maxwell, she set up Terramar. See what I mean? Because it never actually did any business. She put some money into it, but it never hardly did any business, and it was just like a shell company. So I'm kind of dismissing that a little bit. Of course, she captained submarines and things like that, but more Epstein with this Lifeboat Foundation. you know, about off-world living and societies and stuff like that. And there's a lot of people involved in it, a lot from around the world. And then at the same time, he was working out, he would fund projects where he was able to pay top scientists. So one of the, in New Mexico, with people who worked on, was it Oppenheimer that did his stuff near there or something or whatever? But anyway, he was paying a lot of top scientists, you know, and he wanted to talk to them. He wasn't the brain; they were the brain, but he was using that information for something, and just something that's a bit left of center. If all of the people that Epstein was associating with, you know, if lots of them are resigning and all of that, it's like, well, he was put on the board of the Council of Foreign Relations, so can we not have a look at them, please? And something happened there.
Right.
Just like it's happening to other people, you know, some reason, like we're not mentioning the Council of Foreign Relations. It's like he was on it. Remember, he said he was got put on the board.
Yep, absolutely.
So why don't they do something about that? You know what I mean? Or expose it a bit more. Give it a bit of a shake-up.
Very interesting. And Lisa, I've been pulling up and scrolling through some London posts from our favorite letter of the alphabet. Just kind of perusing here as well. Know exactly where you wanted to go on this one, or if you just wanted to talk about London in general. Is that you? Uh-oh.
Lisa?
Only see me. From time to time, she gets
Sorry, when we were,
I
forgot to hit my microphone. When we were talking about Lloyd's of London and the insurance, you know, it's
Oh.
Lloyd's of London, the City of London. You know, the fact that they're going to lose out on a lot of money by not being able to provide the insurance, and also that means they're going to lose out on a lot of control because they were obviously controlling the traffic and stuff like that. I think, you know, there's probably more to it than that. You know, they're like the backbone. You know, the City of London, and this is a big chunk of their business and a big chunk of their control. So just think about the British Empire and London. You know. This is not London proper. It's London, the City of London, which is basically like Colombia,
right?
which is like.
Is it what? It's the City of London Corporation, or is it?
Well, it's the City of London, like it's a country within a country. Yes, you know.
That's
So
what
even
it's
the
called.
king has to be invited there. You know, so it's like the Vatican. It's like District of Columbia, but we don't run it like you run Columbia. We don't run it. They run themselves, and they make their own decisions. It's been like that for a long time. So
interesting.
You know, just keep an eye on what's going on there. You know.
Oh, where was it? I just had it.
And it's essentially the financial district, right? Square mile.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah.
It is. It literally is a square mile. You know.
Yeah.
It's funny too. Pull it up here for you, Lisa. Yeah, so just, you know, people kind of understand what we're talking about here. Like, you got the three pillars, they say, like the Vatican, the City of London, and Washington, D.C. Spiritual Vatican, yeah, air quotes, spiritual. The military would be D.C., and you guys would be the financial. But right here, City of London Corporation is the unique, ancient municipal governing body for the square mile, London's historic financial district. Provides local services, blah, 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 blah. But like you said, it's a separate thing. So when you say, oh, I'm going to London, like different than the City of London. Now, is this City of London the square mile within regular London, or is as we know it London? I don't know how that works. I know, like, what do you call it? I always thought it was weird. Like, oh, what state is Washington, D.C. in?
Yeah, it's a tiny dot, like literally a square mile within London itself, in the center of London, you know. So we call it the City of London, and it goes way back. The king can't go there unless he's invited. Neither could the queen. And the other thing that's happened is they're not allowed to, what is it? They're not allowed to use paper silver. They're not allowed to count it as an asset anymore. So those bits of paper that they've been using to manipulate the silver market, they're going to be costing them a fortune. And those bits of paper that are paper silver contracts, like, oh, I own X amount of silver, and it's only on paper. It's like they're costing them a fortune. So banks like J.P. Morgan and maybe Deutsche, but definitely J.P. Morgan, who've been collecting all of this silver, these silver contracts on paper. So they don't have the physical silver, they just have a piece of paper. That's how they've been manipulating the price of silver. Because they can go, I've got all of these silver papers, as in contracts, without having the physical silver. So you can see how they can manipulate the price. They won't be able to do that anymore because what they call Basel III, which is a regulation that they brought in after the crash in 2008. There's another part of Basel III that's kicking in very soon, and they won't be able to list their paper silver as an asset. In other words, it was BS. Yes? Now, that one's important because of how much paper silver they've been collecting to be able to suppress the price of silver.
The old short game.
Yes, so they can't do that anymore. And isn't there a digital act that Trump's trying to bring in or wants passing regarding, I think it's like clarification regarding digital money? And the banks don't want it. No, they don't want it. No. I think that digital people who own digital currency or whatever, they can buy a bank, and a bank can buy digital currency. But it kind of opens up I think it opens up the banking industry. So anyway, you'll have to look into it.
Essentially, you as the individual will be the bank. Is what I think is the long-term goal with that. So if this does pass, which the banks don't want, that will accelerate that possibility. And when you're the bank, you don't have as much debt.
You're the bank. Yeah. I mean, they can't play these stupid games anymore. And then you got Bitcoin going up and down and silver and gold playing the stupid games with exactly what Lisa said. Oh my goodness, they're coming short. Well, we only got X amount of ounces left of silver. Whoa, the price is going to go through the roof now. Oh, wait, we just, quote, got some delivery of silver. Oh, but that delivery looked like a sheet of paper. Yeah, well, that's how they've been doing this for a very long time. And their game is up, guys. They're not going to be able to keep playing this, especially as we start using more of this AI stuff as a useful tool to go forward here. So Mac Lisa, as we are here, it is 9:42. I'm going to go over and say one of my favorite screen names over here. Thank you to Saint Cosmic Dildo, Patriot Chick, and Crowdeck. You need to update. You got to re-update that image there because, like I said, it used to be a pickle that was a deer, but now it looks like a spaceman. I don't even know what it is here. It ain't the same thing though, but I do appreciate those names. I love some of the screen names on here. And if anybody was wondering where I got my screen name from, I did an interview with a woman called, I think she's going to upload it tomorrow, Ellen Truth Teller Tales, and I did a little interview with her. What do you call it? To blow the story, my mother gave me my screen name. If this gives you any indication, she said I was her space shot. So maybe I'm a weirdo. But I like it just like that. So thank you very much to that over there on DLive. I am releasing those. They are coming at you in right now, essentially at this very moment. And I'm heading over to our friends over on the foxhole.app, aka pilled.net, where if you guys are not following over there, please do. Oh, and folks, 5 years ago plus maybe a month or two ago, I implored, begged, kept asking you, please. All right. So I'm going to ask if one of the mods can drop my Rumble link into all the chats as well, especially the YouTube link. All right. So back then, for months. Guys, this is not going to last long. They're going to get rid of me. I still feel the same thing on YouTube. So if one day you see me not putting up videos anymore and you wonder where I went, because I still keep seeing them, oh my God, you're back on YouTube. What happened to you? Some people don't even know I got kicked off of YouTube for 5 years, and they just thought I stopped making videos, which is weird. So you'll be able to find me again if and when it happens again, which I very much suspect it's going to be soon. So please follow me over on Rumble and the Foxhole, guys. I'll drop the links in the chat as we kind of go out here. But Q shook me all night long, dropped the can, and says, God bless America. Actually said, good bless America and praying for our troops. But I got you. God bless America, praying for our troops. Thank you for that. And then Moon Baby with the cookie says, thank y'all. Appreciate that, Moon Baby. And then Sean Joe was like, boom, we're going to hit you with a cookie. And then Sean Joe hit me with another cookie. And then Sean Joe hit me with another cookie. And been dieting. But thank you for that, Sean Joe. And Jukani with the shades says, God bless. And I appreciate that, Jukani. And then Sean Joe says, you know what? I think you need 3 more cookies in a row because that diet is fighting my cookies here. So 3 in a row there from Sean Joe. Appreciate that, brother. And then One Thunder with the can. Thank you for that, One Thunder. And the last 2 are Good Dog 45, another Space Squad member along with Sean Joe there, gifted the can. So I do appreciate that. And the last one again is Mr. Sean Joe with the cookie. So I appreciate those guys. I'm releasing the scratch-ins. Mac, no, ladies first. I'm sorry. You always insist. Miss Lisa, anything in particular you're looking forward to on the way out of here, or just your parting thoughts? And of course, we can't forget to thank the mods. And I was asking you guys to lift up Wheezy the other day. She wasn't doing so good. She's on the mend and seems like she's mostly better. But Debbie fell a little ill, so prayers up for Debbie, guys. So we do appreciate that. But Miss Lisa.
All right, sending my best to the mods. And Mac, I was just thinking about what you said earlier on President Trump's moves and stuff. And it's like, well, you know, what I just said about silver and all of that, you know, the covert corruption. So Lloyd's controlling shipping, contracts, the insurance, and all of that. Of course, it would be corrupt because they've got they had a monopoly that's just been broken. Then there was the anti-cartel coordination group or whatever it was called. He had a meeting the other day. So that was all the South American countries, you know, so he's kind of brought those together, and it's anti-cartel. So we know that the cartels are kind of in league with the deep state, you know, often the shadow government as well. So that's being broken down. You know, there's certainly some things happening in the background if you dig a little deeper below the surface. And then the one thing that I do think about is Israel is actually being pummeled. Pummeled. Literally. So I just wonder, you know, how big's that plan?
I love it. I love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah, we'll see how it is. And I'm dropping that link, guys, in the Rumble chat. Please don't just roll your eyes, because I'd like to think I have a little bit of experience with being suspended from from platforms by now. So it will come, guys. And just like I put in the comment, even if you don't watch over there, please click the button and follow me over there on Rumble. And I'm going to also drop my Foxhole link as well for you guys. Mr. Max, sir.
Yeah, great show. Yeah. Appreciate, having us on every week. So don't forget to hit the like button for everybody listening in and tuning in. Couple things. Crenshaw lost this past week, so did Crockett.
Yes.
So goodbye to them. Thank the Lord. Ludwig has agreed to testify.
Yes.
Which is nice. And then I think there's 7 others that are going to be called to testify about Epstein, which I think includes Bill Gates. So.
Yes, it does.
Was it true that you wanted to get drugs to surreptitiously give it to your wife? You scumbag. Oh, yeah. My God. That's awesome. Yeah.
So as we're uncovering things, the sex crimes and everything, I think we're getting past to another layer here. and starting to unfold. I think they just released another 57 or 37,000 files on Friday. I haven't heard a ton about them, but I'd assume that there's even more going to be coming out. So this is just, we're just getting into that. Because I think there's another 3 million yet to be released.
It always seems like there's more, right?
I know. They keep coming up with more.
There is a guy that was working closely with Bill Clinton, and I don't think he likes Bill Clinton, but he wanted to testify, and he's going to testify, and he was around at that time. That's going to be interesting because I think he might contradict a lot of what Bill Clinton has said. Ooh. I can't remember his name, but try and find him. But
he
definitely
didn't get Hillaried.
I know.
No.
He survived the Hillary attack.
Yeah. He hasn't been Arkansided, So I wonder what's going to happen there. We'll see. And I do wonder what's going to happen. Like what's the follow up to all of this? Because they what have they said, that they've dropped things? Dropped any investigation into Leslie Wexner already? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. There should be a lot of exposure.
Oh yeah, can't wait. Can't wait to see how that stuff comes out, guys. Mac and Lisa, great show as usual. We will be back, guys. Guess what? Next Monday. Put it on your calendar for the 200th episode of Hold the Line. So we will see you guys next Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Daylight Savings Time. I don't know. How you guys enjoying the extra day during the day now? That's a good thing, right? But so yeah, thank you, Mac and Lisa. Great show as usual. Always a big hat tip and a thank you to the mods again. Debbie, hope you're feeling better on your way up there. And did I read that earlier? Okay, I made sure I read that earlier. Make sure I get everything on the way out of here. And 58 Captain, I sent you an email working on something for you, possibly in the works there. We'll see if that comes to fruition. And as I say at the end of every show for Mac, Lisa, and myself, we do appreciate each and every last damn one of you wonderful world patriots out there for tuning in. And until that next one, thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Peace.
Hello, guys, something special is happening in here. That's right, it's brackets and jackets, bringing it back for brackets and jackets, special Epstein Island edition. That's right, folks, Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, the man with the island, which is suspiciously close to Haiti. That's right. You see, this man, Jeffrey Epstein, is funding lots of people. He's funding lots of people on the street to make sure his shit doesn't get out. That's right. They want the record sealed. And they're paying a lot of people. Epstein's paying a lot of people. Oh, boy. For one, he's got a whole Mossad media matrix in America. And I would bet you anything that Alex Jones is one of them. Prove me wrong. That's right, Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the building with songs about Epstein. It's Breakfast Jacket's Epstein edition. Guys, I had some epiphanies today. I had some real big epiphanies about some guys. A big network of guys and spies and lies and liars. All right, think about this for a minute, okay? The guy in Portland, the scientist that just got busted for producing CP, that guy is 1 degree of separation away from Epstein. Epstein, the investor that lives in West Palm Beach, Florida. I know a guy who lives in West Palm Beach, Florida as well. Investor as well. Also involved as well. And all is not well with these guys. the Florida boys, the Glow boys, the Scott Israels of the world. You see, Epstein is Hillary Clinton, and Epstein is Haiti, and Epstein is a big network of media assets. By the way, did you know that Steve Bannon was going to that guy for money? Also, Epstein is Epstein Oprah. Epstein is Chris Tucker. You remember him. Epstein is also Kevin Spacey. Epstein is also Prince Andrew. Epstein is also... Who else is Epstein? Who else is Epstein? Tell me. You guys know? Who else is Epstein? Is Epstein Big Pharma? Is Epstein Bryan Singer? Is Epstein Naomi Campbell? Yep, all of the above. All of the above. Who is Epstein? Epstein is the keystone of a whole motherfucking matrix. And once you pull it out, it all falls down. Dersh was there too. That's right, we're dropping red pills every day. Dropping red pills in the best kind of way. This is brackets and jackets for the denizens